Welcome to Vodfathers, Masters London edition. Fucking hell. Welcome. I'm
Demonetized.
I'm TMB, joined by Sideshow and ShyoWager. We've had 5 days of Masters London. Started off a little bit slow, then we started getting some banger games towards the end. It's been fun so far, I would say, having been there myself as well. Sideshow, you will also be...
I'm about to be there.
About to be there later today. Shyo, you will be trapped in Canada.
Yes, I'll be there in spirit as the sovereign nation of Canada with your Masters London Queen on my coin. Yeah. But I will not be there, sadly.
Like it's the king now, by the way. Queen died a while ago.
And that's why I'm not there. That's why
they haven't heard in Canada yet.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry though, Shyo, you got the World Cup coming to Canada, so it's not all bad. Well, some might say that's not too good either. Anyway, we're going to talk about regions to start off with, though. We're going to dive into the Fraudit because we all thought we knew who the best region was in Valorant. But were we all wrong? Because somehow a little region called EMEA has managed to get all 3 of their teams through to the playoffs. And a little region called China has 2. And yet Pacific, the region that's been on top for so long, only has 1 little sole member left. Let's start on the Pacific side of things. Are Pacific frauds now? They've only got are they a 1-team region?
No. I'd love to give you the energy that you're giving me back, but I can't do it. And the reason I can't do it is because I really think that Pacific are still a good region, but I think that they, like some of the other regions actually, had some upset results that led to this situation, right? Like, there is a reason why, when we all watched the Pacific playoffs, that day was so memorable, where Full Sense beat T1 and Global Esports beat PaperRex to get us into an upper bracket situation in which Global was playing against Full Sense. None of us expected that to happen. We all expected T1 to be here alongside PaperRex. I think that there were some upset results that created a scenario where where Pacific were not sending the most experienced, let's say. They might have still legitimately sent the best. Like, maybe T1 would have fallen off or something and Pacific would have been terrible anyway. But they weren't sending the most experienced teams to these events. I think Global are a couple events away from doing something good. Like, I was actually pretty impressed with how they played across the group stage. Some of their prep, some of their, like, map theory that they'd worked on, that kind of stuff. They just, they couldn't get it done towards the end. And Full Sense collapsed completely. So I'm not willing to write off the region. I love the idea of overreacting, and I do feel like people like Achilles need to be taken down a peg or two, but I can't.
Respectful, logical take. Hi, ShyoWager, overreactor, professional actually. Pacific are doomed. It is over. And EMEA are godlike. Honestly, I feel like if you send, in the way things are going, you send RRQ, you send T1, very likely the same type of shit is going to happen. You know, like, Global aren't a bad team. It didn't show that they were a completely bad team. I think inexperience is the right call out, but I think it might be very possible the same thing could happen again in that XLG game, especially. I feel like that wasn't just Global choking a little bit, but at the same time, XLG having some good protocols on some of these maps. That being said, Global were, Global's
theory was, let's get 2 out of 3 maps in the pool that are good. Like, let's just sack off Lotus. We'll let them get Lotus, and we'll get map 1 and map 3 being a good map for us. And then they couldn't get it done on map 3, man. I mean, I feel like I was watching a sad version of them on map 3.
Well, we'll get to that. Don't you worry. Yeah. This time, we've got plenty of time.
What do you think?
Well,
is EMEA the best region in the world? Let me just leave with that first.
Well, let me circle back. I need to talk about Pacific because I think Pacific is more fraudulent than you're letting on, Josh, to be honest. Because I think, like, when you look at that group that PaperRex and Global were in at the start of the stage, people were calling this the absolute group of death, right? PaperRex, DRX Global, Nongshim, Gen G, and then Team Secret. That didn't play out at all.
No.
Most of those teams were not good this stage. Like, were actively bad, and I think would have looked bad in the other regions too. Like, Frost's whole narrative of like, top 5 in Pacific is stopped. Yeah, it's just wrong.
That was incredibly wrong. It was wrong at the time. It's wrong now. Absolutely. Yeah. And I don't understand how he came to that conclusion.
Well, I think he came to that conclusion believing the narrative that, we just had our first ever, region versus region final in 2 Pacific teams. Pacific, had generally been, winning all of the Masters tournaments recently, that weren't champs. So I could see where, if you thought that was just going to continue, you know, oh, this will be a Pacific final too, and it's world champs, and you know, Pacific's now going to be the clear dominant region, and that's just hasn't played out at all. And I think that like during that group, like T1 are a bit of an example, I think, of like, oh, if Pacific sent T1, you know, they could probably make out Swiss, maybe, you know, they would have a chance. They've got experience, all that. Yeah, sure, maybe, but no one else. Like DRX were frauds. They were 4-1 in the groups. They were absolute frauds. They were not a very good team. RRQ were 4-1 as well, and I would say they were also frauds. They were not very good, and are making roster moves. They themselves know they aren't very good because they're making roster moves. If they thought they were getting unlucky, they wouldn't have done that, right? They know that, like, yeah, we were 4-1, but we weren't good, and they were just scraping against, you know, Varel and Zeta and stuff. Like, it was not good. So I think that they were a little worse than like people maybe thought or expected. But to talk about EMEA, yeah, let's flip the coin. EMEA has 3 teams in the playoffs now. Are they the best region? I personally would still say, even though my org is part of it, and we're dragging the average up, by the way, I would still say probably not, because
no, go on, keep going though, keep going.
For me personally, I still think that. And again, it depends how you weight things, right? Are you looking at like the actual average, or just like someone winning?
No,
does someone winning like? No, it depends how you want to measure it. Because if you want to just go purely average, or if you want to say like, oh, Pacific are still good because if PaperRex win this event, they still had the winner, right? You might weight that a lot more highly or whatever. And so for me, it's like I would, if I was a betting man, I would still say that like G2 and Lev are still 2 of, I might argue, the best 3 teams at this tournament. Now, it might not play out like that because PaperRex play Lev, right?
I know, yeah.
So it might not play out like that, but in terms of like the strength of the teams, I might still believe that.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting question is, if not EMEA at this event, then who, right, is the question? Because I actually think this has set up a scenario, weirdly enough, where all of the regions now, you could still say that they're pretty similar chances of winning the tournament. Because PaperRex, I think, is still the favorites. Like, watching Full Sense and Global Esports lose has not made me feel less good about PaperRex's chances of winning the tournament. I think there is some logic behind that. I can understand why fans might think that. But PaperRex, to me, was so far ahead of both Full Sense and Global, and we saw that in every match apart from
grand final. Yeah.
But also just every match they've ever played, basically, apart from that one time that they got upset by Global. Like, that was the exception that proves the rule, because it was so unusual, that they are normally way, 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 way better than these teams. And I think that it would be incredibly valid to still say that they're clear favorites to win the tournament. EMEA's got 3 teams, but the last time they won a fucking trophy was 1992, I think? 1966? Last time they brought home the trophy. And then you've got Americas, which I think has taken... Americas would be the default option, I think. But they have a G2 team that's got a bugbear of not being able to actually win globals for whatever reason, who are the heavy favorites when you look at the bracket. They've got the easiest road to the bracket. Like, if you wanted to just look at the playoffs right now, it's G2's tournament to lose, really. Because I think PaperRex should mangle themselves at the bottom.
The odds were still like PaperRex are like a 3rd chance of winning, I think it was. And then G2 shot up quite a bit when the bracket got announced to like 25% or something.
Yeah, they should be very close to PaperRex just based on what you're looking at in the bracket. But like, NRG not making it through is surprising, but it does also take a chunk off Americas as what you would consider to be the best region.
I'm liking this like regional talk from the narrative also of like how the region defines they play Valorant, and in that sense I feel like Pacific has become the frauds in a sense, right? Like there's a certain way China plays, there's a certain way America plays, there's a certain way EMEA plays as well. Right now, the EMEA play style of like, or kind of the tag I would say is the definer of it, is like led by, you're looking at the IGLs a little bit more, teams are a bit more balanced out all across the board. You're looking at the Initiator and the Sentinel players being the stars a little bit more. Foot defies that with SOP a little bit, and like Sociable's calling isn't the most looked at thing on the roster, but they're a bit of an outlier. Americas, you would look at the duelist-centric led teams, I feel like, a little bit more. They're more scrappy and innovative, more than, you know, I think EMEA is staying in the comps they know, the strats they know. But then the Pacific style was like what? Like absolute talent, like eons ahead of everyone else right now when it comes to touching the stage. It's just not there because there's just one team that's kind of the mega outlier. The rest of the region doesn't feel like that. China as well, as a region, is years behind by everyone's defying metrics. EDG is like years ahead of that in a sense. Those are like one team regions, which makes them frauds. But EMEA in America, since they have this paint that, you know, some of these teams share regionally, they're not frauds. They're represented by the region. And if the EMEA has more teams, then they're the strongest region. Now, you could argue you like the America style more, and they could be stronger. But in terms of the fraudit, I'm looking at the documents. Pacific, you're frauds. China, still frauds, but in a good way. You know, EDG is laundromating, what is it called? Money laundering their way all the way to the top. Money fraudering their way. But to answer the question, Pacific, I think, have to be fraudulent then, because none of the teams look like Pacific teams this time around. And PaperRex are slowly becoming, you know, I called it for EDG, but an international team now. They're not matching the rest of the region. T1, if we're talking about the stage games again, T1 Gen G is still the worst game of this year, I feel like. And it's a Pacific game. It is a Pacific game still. Like, it's wild.
You just made me think, though, Shai, when you're talking about styles, like, if you were to say, like, I think we could probably agree, like, XLG probably aren't one of the best 8 teams in the world. Right? Do you agree with me?
I would agree with that.
I don't know about that one because...
Well, no, hear me out. If you were to replace them with a team, I think it's very clearly Fnatic, right? Fnatic with Vekaj playing, I think are clearly the best team that didn't make the tournament.
Yeah.
I would take them out.
I mean, I would agree with you, but I also think that T1 deserve to also be in that conversation because those are the 2 teams that like clearly got left at home. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where they looked great coming in. If they felt like a lock to be able to make it, and then T1 didn't just have their upset, because you can blame a team for getting upset. It is their fault if they get upset in qualifying matches. Absolutely. But not only did they get upset, they got upset at the exact same time that PaperRex got upset, and then it was impossible for them both to make it. And at that point,
that's true.
Part of that is your fault, but you could have recovered it if PaperRex had also won their game, because you could have beaten Global in the bottom. Like,
sure,
we would have all predicted
Fnatic are better than T1. With Vekaj.
I agree. Yeah, from what we saw, I would have agreed with that. But I do think they're on a level where we should have them in the conversation as another team that we're discussing there.
But my overall point was, if you do agree that Fnatic were the best team that got left at home, like EMEA, you would say, is the deepest region. They got 3 teams in the top 8, and you've got the best team that didn't make it as well, you would say.
I think one of the reasons, though, that's why that I think is a reasonable take is that you have a lot of, when you come into a Masters tournament, you have a lot of teams where you're not exactly sure how they're going to have adapted and whether they're going to turn up and whether they're going to flop, right? And it doesn't always track that the same teams always turn up or have great theory or whatever, that kind of stuff. And I think that our expectations coming in, those of us who are not paid by Foot, were that Foot were going to have some real like things to overcome, some hurdles to overcome. And they passed it with flying colors, like actually really incredible.
Not fraudulent, no Chinese teams in there.
Genuinely not at all. Like, I'd love to be telling you. There are still problems with Foot. Like, there are still things that I look at them and I'm like, wow, that's really holding you back from being better than you could be. But the amount of positive things I have to say about the Foot prep and the new style that they found is excellent. Whereas when you turn that focus towards the Pacific teams, and specifically here, Full Sense, because Global, I think you could still argue they had some good stuff that they were doing, but Full Sense, just the rhythm of the way that they play got exploited completely by their opponents. They individually did not turn up apart from
we'll get to all
premi.
this. We'll get to all this. The subject's coming up, but let's just end this segment then. So, who is the best region?
EMEA. By far at this moment, EMEA.
Sideshow?
The best region.
Go on.
Right now. Snapshot.
Right now, snapshot. I'm gonna say, oh fucking hell, man.
Region. Not who the strongest team is. And I'll accept America's as well if that's what you're 50-50'd over. I don't mind.
No. I'll tell you why EMEA is the obvious answer, but everything in my body is telling me don't say EMEA. We haven't seen Heretics play. They could flop out of the tournament instantly, One of these top teams.
You've been burnt by them before.
I've been burnt by them before. Do I think they're going to be good? Yeah, probably, but they could flop, and we haven't seen them at all. We're just assuming they're going to be good. Vitality, I hate how uncoordinated their team fighting is. I don't think they're. I think they should have been first.
You can get to all this later. Just give us a fucking answer, man.
Americas.
Fuck it. Okay. I'll say EMEA, just outvote him. Right, let's move on to our next segment. Call the upset. Let's move on.
All right, so we played a game where we were trying to call the upset. So you got points if you called a team with a negative win rate when they got eliminated from the tournament. So for Swiss, that makes it really simple because anyone who got eliminated from Swiss had a negative win rate. But for the teams who made it through Swiss, they now need to lose fast in playoffs if you have these teams. So I just wanted to do a recap for people for where we were at. So currently, Shyo is dominating this game, all right? Because his teams coming in were Team Heretics. They haven't played yet. He also had XLG, which is a bit unlucky because I feel like XLG would have otherwise been a great pick, but they've gone 2-1. However, XLG are probably not going to win a game in playoffs, and therefore will still go out with a negative win rate, and you'll get the points for them. But you've got 5 points for picking Full Sense and NRG. Getting Full Sense and NRG.
If I remember rightly as well, because I remember passing up on NRG. I'm pretty sure NRG were the last team left that Shyo just got left with because we didn't pick them. Because we were all so, they're going to make it through Swiss. So
yeah.
Crazy.
But I think those are the two teams that a lot of people felt most confident about. I'll tell you, those were the two teams I felt most confident about making it through Swiss.
My VFL is suffering because of it.
Oh, hey, you try to fight Shyo, you get al-Gaibed. I mean, listen, Full Sense specifically, I had the breakdown for them as well in terms of how they would play. And my prediction was they might win a little bit, but they'll kind of stall out and get those 2 losses. The 1-2 overall, I feel like, is because of their limiting factor of
they didn't even do that.
Premi. Huh?
They didn't even do that.
They didn't even get the win.
Oh, yeah. I mean, here we are. And then, if they did end up winning as well, like the factor of that could have happened as well inside the playoffs if we get up to the situation of what's happening all the way at the top. But yeah, I mean, we'll get to it and talk about it a bit more with Full Sense in general. Amazing. NRG, I'm just lucky to be here. I did not expect this. Shout out the NRG guys. Thanks for the dub. Sucks for my VFL. At least I'm winning something. We're chilling.
So in second place with 2 points, so way behind Shyo. I mean, Shyo's like crazy in the lead right now. Is TMV with 2 points. Now your 2 points are from Global Esports, who I don't know. Did you feel really confident that they would be going out in
that was my first pick. I had the last pick. I remember I picked Global first.
Yeah. So you got 2 points for them. They weren't like in the bottom tier of teams, but you've also got, by the way, PaperRex, G2. G2 play against XLG, so then would have to immediately bomb out. Might have a chance with Foot.
Look, here's the thing. I did a bracket earlier today for my pick-ems. I think the bracket has worked out in a way where if PaperRex play Lev, I think
now, unfortunately, you have both of those teams, motherfucker.
Ooh.
No, you have PaperRex, Lev, and G2.
You have Lev as well?
You have three of the best teams of the tournament.
The way the draft worked out is I was either going to be left with a bunch of 1-point teams and not get any points, or I could just shoot for the stars and hope that one of them crashes out and I get 4 points. Yep. Here's the thing. PaperRex play Lev. If Lev beat PaperRex and G2 lose to the team after beating XLG, they would play each other if PaperRex then won. So then I would be guaranteed 4 points if that happens. So that's what I'm rooting for.
Okay.
That's what I need to have happen. I need Lev to beat PaperRex.
Look what he needs to mimic a fraction of my power, by the way. That would tie you with me. I'd still
that would put me 1 above you. You're on 5. I'm on 2. That would give me 4 points.
XLG is a guaranteed loss.
XLG does feel like a guaranteed loss.
Okay, we'd be tied.
Okay. Now, I loved my picks, I'm not going to lie, and yet I'm in a horrible situation. I have 1 point currently from correctly predicting DRG was going to go out in Swiss. Well done, that one must have been difficult. Fucking hell. Meanwhile, the other teams that I took a punt on, who I felt like were the shakiest in the Swiss stage, Vitality, 2-0, Foot, 2-1. I was an EMEA doubter and I'm being punished so hard. And EDG as well, who, I don't know. I mean, I think they've got a spot where they could end up going positive, but I think it'd be difficult.
I mean, the rough thing for you now is that these teams you have, half of them have really good records. Like even if Vitality bomb out, which is like the likely chance rather than
it's
the
literally
1-2.
Impossible for me to get any points from Vitality.
Yeah, and if both, you might be like, oh, I can get some from Foot. Well, if Foot and XLG lose, Foot play XLG.
Ah,
At which
it's
point, if
over.
they win, then it's
over for you,
come
yeah.
to
So
you.
it's literally just over for me. I'm going to end with
But
1 point for correctly predicting DRG is shit.
the worse you're doing here, though, the better you're doing in VFL. Like, the worse you're doing in here, the better chance you have a setup for VFL, which will come later. We'll do that later. But you're happy somewhere in the world,
Yeah.
just not in call the upset. You're
Anyway.
too good at calling good teams. That's what it is. You can't.
Yeah,
you can't pick bad teams.
I picked the teams I thought were bad or thought were shaky, and apparently they're not at all. Rock solid.
You doubted EMEA and you were wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. Does your back hurt, Shio?
My back, not the same as some of the other players in the world right now. They have crazy back problems. I think VCT is hiring a scoliosis expert coming through soon. But there's
Yeah.
lots of broken backs right now. TMV, talk to me about it.
Yeah, so I think let's start with the biggest broken back, I think, which I would say is Premi. Because Premi, for you two maybe who don't know, he has the second highest rating of all time, only behind Martin at Santiago by 0.01.
Holy shit.
He has the highest KPR of any Masters ever. He broke Tenz's record. He has a 1.03 kills per round. He's averaging
That
more
is
than a kill
nuts.
per round. So, and by the way, I think, 3 of his teammates were in the bottom 10 players, I think? Or was it all 4? I can't remember, but
It's a very large amount.
yeah.
And this is without China
it's
as well. This is without facing China.
3 of them are literally the bottom 3 rated players,
Yep.
and then Cruz is bottom 10.
Yeah, so all 4 bottom 10, and then Premi the highest rate by quite a distance, and with an over 1 KPR. So, I mean, it's kind of weird because in the first game, in the first map, Premi was quiet. He had a bad game, I think, in the first map against Foot. And then the second map, he started off slow, but then in the second half of the second map, Premi awoken in that game because I'm just going to tell you his stats in the second half because it was kind of ridiculous. So on Haven, there was only 8 rounds played, I think, and he was 15-4, despite the fact that they lost the game. So in only 8 rounds, he managed to get 15 kills in the second half of Haven.
Yeah.
So as soon as he awoken, he was awake because from that point on, in the second game, again, he was completely dominant, went plus 34. The rest of his team all goes negative, 2 of them double-digit negative. So what do you do? Like, if you're Premi, you did turn up. We had him on Plat Chat as the highest-rated player. Well, he is the highest-rated player at the event. Like, at the end of the day, he did kind of do his job, but the rest of the team was so bad that they only won 1 map. So, Shia, what do we think of this?
You guys hear that? It's the American national anthem. He's going to get bought out and brought over internationally to Americas for some team. I don't know who yet, but
Sam.
I feel like free Premi at this point. Like, and for full sense, you got to just, I know it's probably really stupid to let go of him at this stage in general, but I think the future of Premi is outside of Thailand in general and outside Pacific, or at least outside full sense as a team. I feel like this guy is so talented. If you're looking to scout him from like EMEA, China, even if we want to go towards that route, trying to build some super team, but that's the whole language barrier thing. I feel like he can just slot into any team across the world and then pop off. I think that's a better outcome and timeline for him than full sense trying to slot around him in general. But
I think that's a slight overreaction, personally. I think you've got a team here. This is what I was talking about before with Pacific and experience. I think you've got a team here that has potential inside their region, right? When we've seen them play in Pacific, Full Sense look like one of those teams that has actually a lot of skill. Like, it's not just the Premi show always. There are other skilled players on this team. Jitboys was playing to a really high level in Pacific. Killer was actually playing to a really decent level in Pacific as well. And then they have no experience playing at the international level, essentially, right? Some of these players. I'm looking at Killer and Leviathan especially. The others do to varying degrees. But the players will learn from this experience, I think. And maybe they're a roster move or something away. Maybe they are not going to be able to stick full tie. But I don't think you throw the full team out just because they crumbled at their first big chance of doing something. Which they did. They completely crumbled. I think map 3 against Global is the perfect example. By the way, their opening match against Foot, yeah, they got completely they got destroyed. Foot had incredible prep work for them. Everything that Full Sense tried to do, they knew what was going to happen. And that led to an enormous drop in confidence because even when you're doing things that you think are good, they're already one step ahead of you. So you're like, oh shit, now we have to change our entire game plan on the fly. You're doing shit you've never done before. You don't feel confident about anything you're doing because you feel like they're in your heads. And for Global, they actually did start looking like themselves. And then at some point during Breeze, when they just kept running into Autumn's operator over and over again, I think it cracked for them on Pearl too. They just didn't know what they were doing at all on the defense side of Pearl. Left massive gaps all over the place.
Yeah.
And ended up with Premi also almost being like a cleanup crew player. Like I think at some point they just started running in and dying stupidly so that Premi could clean them all up. I'm not saying that he was like baiting them for stats the entire tournament or anything. Just in that final map, they lost all team cohesion entirely, and it just became, let's hope that Premi can like just clutch this out for us, and no one was doing anything to do with a cohesive game plan. I think they'll learn from this. I think they've got potential. I think they're a couple of events away from being like a regular team that we are talking about making it to this kind of event.
Let me give you the counter narrative to that. And it's a little team by the name of RRQ. Because RRQ, when they were first going to their first internationals, you would have said the exact same thing. They're an inexperienced team. You know, they've got to this point. That's really good. They're going to go to other internationals. They're going to, you know, be better next time. And RRQ did go to other internationals, and they weren't better. They continued to be bad. And the thing is about, it is true that you can use inexperience, you know, as a valid reason as why these teams didn't do well. But Full Sense had more players than Foot in that first game that had been to an international before. They got 2 players who went to an international. Foot got 1. They got fucking destroyed. And I do think you bring up perhaps, I think the bigger problem for Full Sense is that there is too much being put on Cruz. Cruz was the head coach of this team. Now he's come back to IGL this team. It's very clearly his team. It's everything he does. And just from like, you know, being around in London, you know, hearing the whispers of what people are saying, you know, the rumors on the streets or whatever, I think it became pretty clear. It became pretty clear straight away as soon as the map veto against Foot happened and Foot banned Breeze instead of Fracture. And Full Sense stood there for a minute.
Oh, they were
like,
completely
That's
unprepped.
Malphite ults
just
unlocked,
absolutely
like
malfunctioning. Like, what the hell? You can do that? That to me was like straight away, you're not prepared enough. And I think the big problem is you've got a Cruz who is probably having to do most of the prep while still also, you know, working on playing and, you know, making sure that he's still okay to play. I think that's just a gigantic problem that they have. That
I think their coaching
like,
staff is not doing enough at all.
Yeah.
In this. But I would say you don't need to make roster changes to the players. Like we were discussing, like, do you just save Premi, you know, fly him off, get him into another team or something? There are structural issues with Full Sense that they could improve over time in order to get more out of this squad.
Yeah.
But
sure.
I feel like in the meta and whatnot, this was their best chance at representing their style of play. Like the next meta we're swapping over to rewards a bit more of that prepping and whatnot, which a coaching staff would like be able to like exploit so much more than the setup Full Sense has. Like we're going towards, you know, initiators and sentinels getting changes. Premi kind of not takes a back seat. Obviously, he's always going to be the star on that team in terms of what he can put in. But I'm not looking at like, you know, Leviathan, Cruz, and Killua as players that really have the most cohesive setups that stop other teams. And I'm not sure they're going to be able to gain that factor or that quality. And I feel like Full Sense now needed to perform. Next split will be a little bit behind.
To argue Shyo's point, like Josh, I think you're coming at it from the team perspective, but if you just think about it from Premi's perspective, Premi is good enough to get onto literally any team in the world.
Oh yeah,
and he could probably get paid more, I'm gonna guess, and also be, you know, regularly competing for trophies or winning trophies if he went to some other team.
Are we talking 2027 with this then? Is that what we're...
like just
or just like long-term future?
I was talking about long-term in general.
Oh, well, sure. If we're talking years in the future, I don't think Premi's going to stay on a full Thai team for years in the future. He's far too talented. Yes, I agree with you there. If I'm looking about maybe just even into next year, I could see the team sticking together. But I'm thinking in the short term as they move forward, they've got more to give this squad that they could still get big results. They could still be a team that grows and goes to more internationals and does stuff. But yeah, of course, when we're taking like a zoomed out approach, this should be a stepping stone for somebody like Premi. I think the question then would be more like, how comfortable does he feel communicating in a full English speaking team? He didn't play as well as he did So he's playing better in this team than he did in his previous team. His previous team wasn't using him in the same way, though, right? They weren't playing him on full-time duelist. Yeah. You are the star player. We set you up. You get all of the success. But that might just be that he's growing. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's more comfortable in a Thai environment.
Yeah.
I might have to even fight myself really quickly. There's one factor we forgot, which is like, is it better for this team to stay in Thailand, though? Because I'm not sure what the regional things work up to, like what the hardest section of next year's qualification process is going to be. Sorry for the interruption, but it's like I feel like if the hardest part is getting to the cup itself rather than playing the cup, right? If that's like the most volatile part of it, maybe it's better to stay as full sense and stay in their region and not go to a harder region like Americas or like EMEA or anywhere else. The sub regions at least. That is a factor. A little bit of a.
It's possible. That you're talking about Thai. And you're talking about Factor. Go on, bring it up. Let's just do it. Let's just do it, man. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. He's talking about Factor. He's talking about Thai. You know what one of my favorite cuisines is? Thai food. Love that stuff. Do you know where you can get it? I mean, do you want to cook it at home? Maybe. Do you want to learn a brand new skill and take like 72,000 hours to learn how to be a chef? I don't have time for that. Do I want to go and order it? Oh my God, that's so expensive. And also I have to sit here looking at my phone. Oh my goodness, when is it going to arrive? When's it going to arrive? Oh, sorry guys, I have to go AFK and pick up my food that I ordered. What are we talking about here? Get yourself over to factormeals.com/VodFathers50 off and you can get meals delivered straight to you that have been prepped by a chef. Huge amount of variety. You've got Mediterranean, you've got Asian. They don't specifically say there's Thai, but I'm sure there's lots and lots of good tasty Thai food in there because it's a dope cuisine. There's always something new to look forward to. It's ready in 2 minutes. It's delivered. You put it in the microwave. You get it out. You can literally do that while you're dead after the pistol round. No one's going to care. Factor shops, preps, cooks, delivers straight to your door. So you have more time for everything that you love this spring. We've eaten it. It's good.
Listen.
Head to factormeals.com. Go on then.
Yeah, I can confirm there is a tie in Factor Meals. It's tied for some of the tastiest food I've eaten this year. I swear to God. In combination with before I was having Factor, Ascendant 1. After Factor, Immortal 3. Because I had time to play the game.
Wow,
it's getting crazy.
Wow.
That
These full sense players could use with some Factor, I think.
Yeah. Phantom 1 now in the deadlock scene. What else? 2x KO. I have time to lab. And I'm watching Masters, and it's because of Factor. Tap in. TMV's eating on the road because of Factor. Is it because he has food? No, because he knows I'm happy and I'm safe. And it makes his life easier. It's amazing.
It does make my life easier.
Head to factormeals.com/VodFathers50 off and use code VodFathers50 off to get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscriptions only while supplies last until the 27th of September 2026. See the website for more details. Thank you to Factor for sponsoring the episode. Do you want to sleep with some fishes?
Well, we didn't even talk about DRG.
We didn't even talk about the-
Oh, right. No. Let's talk. Let's
do
other
a
people.
couple minutes on Vukashu. Because there's a lot of debate about Vukashu coming into this event. Me and Shyo put him number one in our player rankings. I partly did just to try and bump him up the scoreboard a bit, but I did have him very high. Sideshow was a doubter. He was a hater. He didn't like him. And he ended up as the third highest rated player, but I think, Sideshow, you're probably now going to argue that this is why VLR is fraudulent.
Well, I mean, his stats are still good, aren't they? I mean, his stats are good. Now, a majority of those stats have been gained while he was playing inside of his own region, playing against XLG, because he put up a 1.39 rating with plus 19 against XLG.
He's still proven he can farm China.
Yes, exactly. But he didn't really prove that he could not do anything else, because in the game against Vitality, he goes -10 and didn't actually look like a factor in that game at all. So I come away thinking the exact I come away thinking the exact same thing, to be honest with you, about Vukashu, which is he can dominate his opponents when he has a skill advantage over them. And he does have a skill advantage over a lot of the players in China. I mean, we've also seen Happyway put up some like astonishing matches for the other side of things for XLG. So it's not like he's the only player that's doing this too. But I don't think he has a style of Sentinel that scales well when you play against better competition. the way that he takes fights, the way that he positions himself off his teammates, the timings he takes, they don't scale well when you're playing against other good players. And so I think he's destined, if he stays in China, to keep learning the wrong lessons, which is I can play suboptimal Valorant and shit on these people. And that, he, in some sense, is like a microcosm to me of the entire Chinese region, because they keep learning the wrong lessons. And yeah, he's just going to be great, and then his teams are not going to do much when they turn up to internationals.
Yeah, I feel like I'll stand on the side of VLR is a bit fraudulent, because even though he's third highest rated, if you look at the gameplay, it does not look like third highest rated gameplay. It is really boosted up. I feel like maybe just that Haven map as well. In general, like, he was not really confirming is what my mind's thinking, but he wasn't confirming through his positions what his usual like moments would look like in the game. And Josh, you're saying the timings were taken correctly against, you know, players of higher caliber. In that Vitality game, he did have good timing still to see faces for like at least 1.5 seconds. Was not able to connect shots. I feel like his timings were still there. The Vukashu like magic moments started, but for some reason, whether it's nerves, whether it's aura, TMV were talking about it, or I was talking about the TMV. Where's the VGOD jacket? You know, why is that not on stage? I think it's a big miss. Would have maybe gotten him 10 more kills, I think, this entire event. But it's like, for some reason, the Vukashu that I've seen in China that disrespects timing sometimes gets that magical 3K like Premi would, and like, you know, you saw on that Haven a little bit. It was just not consistent. It just wasn't there. It does support Josh's claim, though, that you can just do it in China when they give you an extra second to clear your head a little bit. Maybe also it's, you know, pressure for being on stage for the first time. I still want to know what Paris would have been like with Vukashu there, but in seeing, like, you know, pressure mounted in this moment as well, clutches he's losing in a one-on-one, like not finding the right read, it's his job. Like, that's his specialty. And honestly, Demon 1 looked better. And that is sad for me to say, because I'm such a fan of Vukashu. He had the moments, he had his timings, he just came up short, and it's unfortunate.
Okay. Thank you for that. I don't need to speak about DRG anymore. Let's sleep with the fishes. Let's go to sleep with the fishes. And actually, when we talk about sleeping with the fishes, we could have included this player as well in my back hurts. Because let's start with Keiko and NRG, or Nearest Runway at Gatwick, as they now are known. Because Keiko, well, we just saw the stats a brief moment ago. The second highest rated player of this event so far, Keiko. And yet his team is also going home. And this one, I think, is a bit more of a big shock. And we can spend a bit more time kind of dissecting some of the problems that NRG had. So, Sideshow, let's just start with that. Like, what? Give me the main reason that NRG, in your opinion, got eliminated from this tournament.
I'll give you two. One of them is that one of them is a bit more intangible and requires you to read between the lines a little bit. And so we'll probably need a bit more time for like us to create a narrative and then NRG to push back against the narrative and find where the truth actually is, right? But when you have Bonkar in interviews saying stuff like, we're tired, you know, we're not really going to be like hard prepping for our next match. We just need to give the guys a little bit of like break and breathing room and time to approach things. That is a bit of a worrying sign whenever you hear that in teams. You know, that preceded Fnatic losing EMEA famously in 2023 when they were the super team. And when you actually look at their prep work for these games, even when they weren't punished for it, their prep was not that good. So they had rough prep, which is probably a result of some level of like burnout-ish kind of stuff. Their ante against XLG when they ran into them on Lotus was, I think, noticeably poor and under the level of what you would expect for NRG. Again, they didn't get punished for it. They actually won that game, but in their very opening match, you could already see, oh, it's a bit weird, actually. NRG 100% knew that Lotus was going to be in here, and yet they don't have the best game plan for being able to deal with it. When they played against Leviathan, they played a new composition on their Ascent. It didn't look that great, actually. For a team like NRG, who are world champions, on a map that is like defense side, it should be perfect for them. Like Ascent plus NRG should be a match made in heaven, especially when you get to play Keiko on Phoenix or Ethan on KO, pick your poison. But actually didn't look very good from them. They were leaning on Pearl without making a compositional swap. You know, there's a lot of stuff here that implies if they had more time, or maybe more accurately, more energy and like mental bandwidth, they actually would have come into the tournament having retooled a lot more stuff. But the second reason that I think is also just as important is that they had a drop in form from some of the players that are incredibly important from them. So Keiko covered this up a bit because he had a monstrous tournament. But brawk slid from being top 5 player, maybe even top 3 player in Americas, like super good, better than Keiko actually, in my opinion, in Americas, down to being, I don't know, a fine player, but like not great. And Mada slid from being a fine player in Americas, who wasn't doing amazing, to being a meh player. I'm not going to say that he played bad. I know his rating was bad on VLR, but he had a meh performance. And I think that's probably also tied into the like burnout energy kind of things too. I don't know exactly what's going on for them, but it feels like they didn't do the prep that they needed to be able to come into an event like this and perform at their best.
Kyle?
I was going to look at you, but I agree with most, if not all, of what Josh is preaching on NRG. I feel like if you rock on, I'm not sure how long this like factor of theirs has existed, because Kiko's keep bailing them out previously in regions where it might things that they're facing might not be as strong. Because like if you look at Foot and the way they kind of dismantled brawk, their approach on maps like Lotus, where they're like mistiming a bit of their entries to deal with the Odin spam and whatnot. We didn't see that in many other regions, and you know that pocket play is what saved energy a lot of the times when we would have thought that maybe it was prep the entire time. I'm just wondering how far the rabbit hole goes now in where NRG kind of misstep, and is it exhaustion, or was this happening in a region where there just aren't as many teams that can punish them for having this like reliant play on like 2 players, and then some other people that might be fizzling out? Well, in general, for this event though, you know what I mean. They're for some reason not leaning on big strengths that shouldn't have as much prep ready. There's such a deep like roster, as you're saying, in terms of options, Josh. Like not looking at the KO when we've seen it, you know, fumble Foot previously in the Vitality game they were playing on the Pearl. Like Yampi's knives are easily 4-5 scanning sometimes, and not going for that option in a switch, not going for it on Ascent when we've seen NRG and other teams in the world have KO be a factor that no team can really deal with. It's such a good idea. Not going for a switch at all is like, I think, inexcusable. You can blame burnout, but again, we've seen this last year too. I don't know why teams keep prepping for this scrim event over the actual event that means something in prestige. Maybe the money matters more, but it's like, you know, clearly they did very well. I'm looking at the VLR scores, at least. They did very well in that event domestically in the EWC qualifiers, but at the cost of this, I just feel like it's not a worth trade-off. It really is not a worth trade-off.
It's a great point to bring up, because they played in EWC and they won basically every map they played in EWC. They lost the opener against Loud, but then they cruised through 2-0, 2-0, 3-0. If you compare that to the other teams that have done well, Vitality, they didn't even play in EWC. I'm not exactly sure why, but they decided not to participate. And, you know, they end up coming out of Swiss stage 2-0. The top seeds obviously don't play in EWC either. But Lev, the other Americas team that did, they got beaten 0-3 by MIBR and 0-2 by NRG. I'm not saying that they weren't trying, but they were playing triple Sentinel on Lotus, which is not what they ended up bringing to Swiss. I don't think they spent a lot of time playing that triple Senti XLG comp, but who knows? I don't have information necessarily about that. I think it's pretty likely that we're going to see a negative correlation between the teams that put the most energy into qualifying to EWC, which is not a VCT tournament, doesn't help you get into champs, doesn't really give you the same level of like success within the scene either. It's just money. And you're going to see a negative correlation between that and performance at events, when, especially for Americas, when they had a week less than everybody else. I think it's just insane to be prioritizing or even playing in a tournament like that. And I'm not even bringing the moral argument into it at all. Like, I actually just think if I was running a team like that, and listen, these players are paid really large amounts. You do not need the money There is no need for the money. Like, if you're an org that forces the players to play in that as well, fucking you're the player. Just, let's not put very much effort or energy into it. Yeah. Turn up and scrim it. Yeah, exactly. That kind of shit. They also, by the way, did get a little bit of cope for you here, because we've been harsh on NRG fairly, I think. But the little bit of cope would be that they had a pretty tough draw as well. They got their win over XLG, which I wasn't even, that impressed with their Lotus, but fair enough. They get the win, and they do actually beat XLG on Lotus. But then they play against two teams that have actually been quite good. They should probably have been good enough to get past Foot. But the Lev loss, I think, is more expected to me. Like, that one isn't like NRG underperforming necessarily. And you can cope away in the Foot game that it's like, oh, we lost 12-14 and 11-13. Like, it was winnable. We might have just been talking here about NRG squeaking through and being like, ooh, can they keep this going?
I have to argue a bit against that, though, in the fact that they had the easiest draws, though, compared to the teams that actually made it through 2-0. Like, you look at the people they face, Leviathan coming into that, the GE game, we were thinking, holy fuck, worst draw possible for Lev.
Yeah.
GE Frost, the anti-strat team, they're going to get dismantled. They're split specifically. They do the same things on attack 24/7. Worked. They powered through. They talented their way right past it. They were more consistent. Foot faced Vitality, then faced NRG as well, right? Like, it's a whole thing. Again, we're going through that narrative again. Americans can really only farm China to get all the way up to where they need to be. When you run into these roadblocks across the world.
I think it's reasonable.
I still think.
I would also say, though, like, obviously I'm coming at this from the Foot perspective, but if you look at the game, like, because that's the thing, people are gonna, like, if you want to cope for NRG, you'll say, oh, it was close, right? Like, all the maps were close. They lost.
One double pistol, double bonus.
Yeah, but like on Fracture, let's take that. It was 12-5, and then Foot. They've done this before. They get to 12 and they hit a fucking brick wall. And if you look at the quality of rounds that they played before they got to 12 and after they got to 12, it was like two different teams had turned up. The pressure clearly got to them, like very, very clearly got to them of like, oh, we've almost won. And they just completely froze up. We're getting Duelist. You're getting Sop dashing into Zeus as Zeus solo entries with no util, as then Sop runs into a trip, and the two people die because they're lined up behind a trip. Like, there was some horrific rounds from Foot when they got to 12. But on Haven also, as well, Foot are plus 18 in kills. This was not a close game. NRG won 6 clutches. Half of their rounds were clutches that they won.
Yeah. I also think there's another point to be made there, which is that even if you want to cope about the bonus rounds, NRG played the bonuses horribly. This was not oh my god, NRG it's a lucky swing round.
Minnie was so right on the... NRG's defense side on Fracture is horrible. They don't understand the map. They constantly try and flood, and as long as you just like Foot, this is the thing, Foot, I think initially kind of did understand that, and then as they got to 12, they completely forgot and just started doing full execs. Like, if you're playing against NRG on Fracture, all you have to do is like pretend, like fake an exec a little bit, get everyone to flood across, and then pause, and then do whatever the fuck you want. You can go to the side of the map, you can just completely pause. They are then lost. They then have like 5 people just sat ready to flood out of spawn, and if you don't actually do the exec, they don't know what to do, because you could be on the other side of the map now. You could be going back. Do you try and aggro out like on this side? But what if they have gone back? Then you're in an even worse position. You're even further away. If you are aggroing out, they might be there still and just holding for you and kill you.
It was actually their attack bonus, though, that molded me the most, because it's right at the beginning of the game, and it showed that same like lack of prep that I was talking about earlier. Yeah. So Yedajay pushed out Tree. He was doing it constantly in the full sense game. Yeah. He was trying to do it when any time there is holes pressure, Yedajay is looking to see if he can push out Tree and gain that space for his team. And NRG pump faked holes, and I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, they've watched the VOD. They know that this draws Yedajay out and now they can kill him. They don't clear the corner at all. They have no awareness of it. They were just doing their own game. We're going to pump fake and then go back to B because we think it'll draw rotates horizontally across the map. They're unaware of what their opponents are. That's really unusual for NRG. Like, that is unusual.
Yeah. And the thing is as well with the time, like, when I spoke to Sato, he was like, Sato said that Lev scrimmed 5 times on the day that they flew out. They ran 5,
wild,
which is insane, right? And I think it does go to show you,
Kid energy.
Too.
I mean, they had no time, and to be fair to NRG, they did have they did have no time. Like, it's 5 days, I think, before London started from their last EWC game. Obviously one of those is flying out, getting used to the, time zone, doing some media stuff as well. Like they had no time. That is completely fair. But the thing is, they're not going to get, like, they're in EWC now. So they're going to have a little bit of a break because they got eliminated. But then they're going to be doing that. And then they're straight into stage 2. And then then they're probably going to make champs. They're not going to have time at any point.
They've not made it easy for themselves.
Here's the thing, right? It's like, we didn't get to talk about it with Vukashi a little bit, just a super double back. But you want to hope that, you learn the lesson of maybe making your Sentinel pool a little bit bigger and going for different styles of play. For NRG, in the learning moments of things as well, now it's like start to prioritize what you want to be good at. If rest is an issue, make rest a priority. You have such a deep pool of strategy as well available to you as a team. Start to experiment, because the number one thing I'm looking at here from the EWC stuff to like now, things stayed the same. That shouldn't be a thing when the meta is slightly shifting from that patch to this one, and at the same time switching again, moving forward into the next stage. We talked about how Full Sense might be falling off. NRG should be rising on, I guess, the complete opposite, where like Initiators and Sentinels are going to be doing really well. I mean, Scuba, Brawk, like Ethan, they should all be 10 times more potent.
I wanna challenge that a little bit though, because if we're right in saying that double initiator comps or whatever are going to be coming back and people are going more towards solo duelist, I think that sucks for NRG, because that means that Keiko is now going to be on perma smokes and he's going to have way less opportunity to do what we just saw him do, which is, I mean, to be fair, he does still have his moments on smokes.
Matter Harbor every map.
Well, but here's the other thing.
But it puts a lot more on Matter. Like if you're looking at Matter and you're looking at Premi on Full Sense and you're saying one of these is going to be your only duelist player, which team is going to do better? You're looking at NRG and you're like, well, the others are going to have to do very well with how Mada's currently playing. Whereas with Premi, you're like, send all of your initiator utility to set this one guy up. We have a very clear game plan.
But initiators might be strong enough to the point where you can run double duelists. Like we don't know what the changes are specifically.
So let's we can figure this all out later. Let's move on to another team, Shyo. Global Esports. Esports. Now, Sideshow sounded pretty, I would say you were being quite lenient to Global when you were giving your thoughts earlier on. Shyo, I want your take first, though. Should Global see this as a disappointment? Is this a disappointment for Global, or would you consider it still, it's fine?
It's so tough because like the pressure now is that we know there's not going to be a next year of this, because like by default I would say this is not a disappointment. It's like a cool showing on a stage where some of these guys are not used to it. We had good calling from Javi. We saw Crystal leveling up to a level we've never seen from him before. Inconsistency, right? There were some gaps with like Autumn being a little bit trolly and their split setups being weird and whatnot, but in a bubble where we didn't know 2027 was going to be different and there was the VCT is going to go around again, confident in Global. Let's see how things are going. Nice stepping stone. Excited for champs. Excited for the year afterwards. But like now when there's pressure to really try to win in these events, I think the bar was making it through into playoffs for Global. I think that was what was needed. And it is a slight disappointment, especially when you have like some easy, alley-oop matchups at the very start. I feel like that Lev game for the style that Global plays should have been a smash, could have been a possibility of a 2-0. And there's a missed opportunity here that we're running out of time now in the format that we have. They needed to perform in a winning manner.
I'll just give my. Sideshow's already given a little bit of his. I'll give mine as well. I am always of the mindset of like, unless you're PaperRex, it's very difficult to make. Or G2, I guess. Unless you're PaperRex or G2, it's not easy to make internationals. It's not easy to go deep in internationals, right? And this, like Global, when Global got XLG, I'm sure Frost was fucking smiling so much. I'm sure he was like, fuck yes, this is a great chance. And you can't afford to lose that chance. That was your chance. And I think Global, one of Global's main issues, I think, is that they are inconsistent as individuals in terms of they take turns. They take turns of like, today I'm going to be good, and tomorrow I'll be shit. And tomorrow he'll be good, but I'll be bad. And like, there doesn't seem to be moments of like, oh, like 4 of their players are all online doing well. It's always like, oh, Eurotan's having a good map today. Oh, Crystal's taking over this map today. And then the others, but the others don't, right? And as soon as you get into a point where that one player can't carry you enough, whoever is on in that day, they just start crumbling. and they just can't seem to
can I
like
comment on
have.
that?
Go on.
Yeah, the one thing with that is that while that cycle's going on, the one guy holding up the Atlas for it to be possible is PatMen. And in this event, his shoulders just couldn't do it. I feel like consistently. Like I feel like he is the consistent
His
guy
back was
while everybody else. Yeah, his back was. He's the slight consistent guy, at least in the macro play, at least
Like he's
in
the best player.
decision making, right? Like at least in the clutch. But you think about some of those moments in the Haven game, the whole team has the most perfect seaside setup. He's TPing with a drop smoke top box, turning a 4v3 into a 3v3 that's so winnable for Shilai. Like, what's going on?
I don't think he is a smart player in the clutch, like always makes the right move. I think he makes really high variance moves quite often. And that's why he gets stat lines like he did earlier this year where he just fucking dominated a game. Yeah. Yeah, he's a PaperRex player. He's got that craziness in his blood.
Learn from Jing.
But
I feel like in comparison to the rest of the team, like he was the bottom line that usually, teetered out on average to be sensible. Whereas everyone else was really high or really
don't
low.
think so. I think he was doing a lot of like playmaking. That's how I would describe it. I would describe him as a playmaker in Pacific, and a lot of his plays were working. And I think here he still did the playmaking, and a lot of his plays weren't working. He had moments of it in the Lev game, and then he got hard punished in some of the later stuff. I mean, his split, for example, that he played against Lev and Full Sense, he was just getting absolutely whacked.
But what I'm talking about is like in comparison to someone like Foot, there have been maps and moments where you watch Foot and you're like, oh, there are 3 or 4 players here who are having really good games.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like you get that with Global. You get
I think one of the reasons is they're asked to do more than any other players are. I think it's I saw a post about this recently where they were saying that the average amount of agents that Frost requires his players to play is through the roof compared to everyone else, right? Oh, here it is. Yeah, it was a Reddit post by a user called 2for8. And this was Global Esports are averaging 7 agents in the last 60 days. Whereas other teams like, I don't know, let's say NRG or something, they're at 5. Most teams are at somewhere between 3 and 5. Global Esports are at 7. So they do require their players to play constantly different stuff. And I think with that is inevitably going to come inconsistency, either in terms of how you play, or you're going to have some maps. If we think about Crystal, his Pearl, holy shit, he loves playing the Killjoy on Pearl. He's just got a rhythm for it. His Fade that he plays on some of the other maps, you're never getting that same level out of him. So some of it's going to be the amount of agents that they play. Some of it's going to be that they just like ones more than others. And some of it's just going to be there's too much for them to handle. But I do feel all right about Global. I understand where you're coming from. I do agree with the general idea that it's an opportunity missed. If you get Gilai in that draw and you're not capitalizing on it, you fucked up, right? You fucked up. But there's a way of analyzing gameplay that's results-based. You failed. And there's a way of analyzing gameplay that is, how did you play? Like, what was the quality of gameplay that you were actually putting on? And I think the majority of the gameplay that Global showed us was pretty damn good. Their Pearl was extremely good that they played against Lev and Full Sense. Their Breeze against Full Sense, that defense side that they showcased was very good. They shut them out of the game. The Fracture against Lev, they absolutely had chances to win. Where it started to slip, and also their Lotus, I'm just discounting entirely against Shilai because they just... I think the map veto was set up for them to win map 1 and 3.
Is that a failure in map vetoing, do you think? Should they have just banned Lotus?
It's a risk because then you let them get in Fracture or Split and you maybe have a better chance of being able to win on one of those 2 maps. But I think they probably should have done that. Yeah, I think. But to me, the gamble was we're going to get rid of Gilai's 2nd and 3rd best map. So we guarantee that we are playing them at the bottom of what should be their pool.
Yeah, but you could just get rid of their 1st and 2nd or 3rd best map instead.
Yeah, I know. But my point
first by a distance, I would say as well.
They're playing them on Haven. They should be able to beat them on Haven. Yeah, it's not that great for Global, but they do anyway. The Breeze is really where they let it slip. And that, to me, is also just that they played a lot worse in that Breeze game than they did when they played it against Full Sense. Things were not clicking. They couldn't really get a grip of what was going on. They could not figure out how to stop No Man just running at them on sites in rounds like 8 through 12. And they fucked it for themselves.
But overall, I want you to answer the question. Is it a failure for Global, this tournament?
No, because if you're an organization that's never even made domestic playoffs before, going 1 and 2 in a Swiss stage where you had a chance of being able to make playoffs, you can't set the expectations to go from, oh my God, congratulations on making it to playoffs of a domestic, to suddenly, you fucking idiots, how did you not make playoffs of a global? Like, these things have to progress incrementally.
No, but with the context of they got to have China. And they're still going to do it. 13-4 over Leviathan.
I know.
Messed up the next 2 maps.
I know.
Like,
but you gotta have some perspective here. Like, they already overperformed even getting into that spot.
Hold on.
True.
Say that word one more time.
Perspective?
Ooh, perspective. Let's take a step back. Lots of opinions about teams here, there, everywhere. Let's rank them.
Well, yeah, we're going to go to the positive aspect. We've talked about all the teams that have gone home. Now I want us to take a look at the 4 teams that went through the Swiss and talk about kind of, just quickly like their performance and how we think that they will do, going forward as well. Now, I think we don't need to waste much time. I think we could probably all agree Gilai are the worst of the teams that went through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do they have, they played G2 first as well. Do either of you think there is really any hope that they win a game in playoffs?
Do you want to know my cope? Like my absolute cope that shouldn't exist?
Yeah. Go on.
There's a guy in my chat called Nano Machine who went 0 for 10 in his pick'ems of what the teams are going to be, who's going to be winning. You feel me? That is impressive. 0 for 10.
That is hard. That is hard to do.
When he was 0 and 5, we're like, okay, who are you picking? Everybody picked the opposite, and everybody we were eating the pred points. He has picked G2 winning over Gilai. So if this guy is the curse, he's picked the wrong team. Maybe Gilai win. But since I'm asking the gurus of prediction Valorant, I feel like there is no chance, and this is going to be a stomp through. And unfortunate for Gilai. My question follow up then to you, TMV, would be, who are they facing next?
Well,
EDG, that would be the.
But that's where I think your original question of are they winning a game in playoffs becomes somewhat more interesting, because while I think EDG are the better team, and I think that there is, like, in my opinion, a gap between what EDG can do at a global and what Gilai can do at a global. When they play against each other, they played in the grand finals of China. EDG got double map ban, so they got to get rid of Lotus and Ascent, which neither of the teams likes. We have no clue who's good on Ascent because neither of them have even played it. Or maybe Gilai have played it once, but anyway, neither team has played Ascent. So you've got no clue who's good on that. But of the other 5 maps in the pool, they got split 3-2, with Gilai being able to take Fracture and Haven. So it's not impossible for them to be able to beat EDG if EDG come in and they're playing poorly. We do not know which of these number 1 seed teams is going to flop. And guaranteed one of them is. Like, we always have a flop number 1 seed. You just don't know who.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a bit of cope. But we all agree it's Gilai 4.
Gilai 4. Now, this is the big one.
Third, now we can start having a debate, though.
Wait. Wait. Is it easier to say who's first?
Yes.
Is it easier to say, okay, who's first?
Well, let's say in 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
Lev. Okay, that's what I mean.
You think
not
Foot?
The paid Foot player saying Foot, and Foot, by the way, who lost to Vitality.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, do you say Levs, Josh?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was 2 said Levs.
2, 1. Okay. We could level up top.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then let's start there. Let's start with Josh saying why Lev. Why Lev?
Why Lev? I think that they
play PaperRex first, so in terms of future performance.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying that they might not go the deepest, but if we're just looking at the 4 teams that made it out of the Swiss stage, I think Lev have some maps that they're extremely good at, right? They've got their Ascent that looks really dangerous. Their split looks really dangerous. They've got players in good form. Sato is in even better form than he was in Americas, actually. And I think the more time you give to some of the others on the stage as well, I think you'll probably see more of the Americas form coming out of people like Neon, Blows, that kind of thing. And by the way, Neon, it's not like Neon is a bad player whatsoever either. Like, he's already one of the highest rated players at the tournament. And I don't think he's playing quite as well as he was in Americas. They've also come out with good set plays that we haven't seen from them before. I wish they had reworked their Fracture comp. They didn't. They added more set plays to their Fracture comp instead. All right, they still have actually prepped some new stuff that ended up getting them across the line in that game. So, it's a different way that I would have approached it.
It's still a weakness.
I agree, it's still a weakness, but it shows that they've used their time off to actually add new stuff into their game, and they have a 5-day break before this as well. I like the way that they play. I think it's difficult to beat them. I think they're the best team.
Yeah. I think that's completely fair. To add on to that just quickly, like, I'm the guy. I literally made the video, multiple videos, about how they run the same shit all the time on Split. And that was true. It was true. But then, as soon as I released that video, they then really started mixing some stuff up. Now, they do still do it in certain rounds. But the thing that's so great about that is they were doing the same fucking round all the time and still winning.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, people couldn't find answers to it. They were still winning most of those rounds. And so they can still do it, and they still will win most of those rounds because they were before anyway, right? But now they also do other stuff, right? They're also mixing things up a lot more, and I think that we've got to the point where, they have like slowly built, I think, up, to this point where they are just. I think it was crazy that PaperRex picked them. I think it was crazy.
I think that's lunacy.
That PaperRex picked them because, like, they were the team coming into this event with the highest round win rate out of any team. So I think they're an incredibly dangerous team. I think they are, apart from a couple maps like Fracture, another one is Lotus as well. I think they have a couple clear weak maps, which is not good. You don't like often want to have like clear maps for people to pick against you. But I think on the other maps, they are good to very, very good. And I think that they are a very dangerous team. Shyo, why did you say my team, Foot, are the most dangerous team?
So I think, first of all, their biggest problem is a boon to their... It's like a good qualifying factor for them in being the greatest team, which is they have trouble closing out games. Like, they're good at getting to the 12. Their biggest weakness is, from that moment, keeping composure. They have one of the best like bonus strats I've seen in terms of like being able to convert from being an advantage, and they have one of the scariest ecos in terms of either going for the stack play or having really good valuable positions where Yetu ends up popping off. I think I'm not sure what the stats are overall in their like conversions on the second round, but they interrupted a lot on like good forces if they have the spike down, or just good defensive strategies at stopping people from coming in for free. In combination with that, I just feel like this team has a really good map pool as well. I'm looking at kind of the spirit of the team overall. They're the only team so far in Swiss that hasn't been sunned. I'm looking at the rest of the teams. You've gotten 13 forward. You've gone inside these matches and you have lost your identity completely and been stomped. These guys always give it their best to at least be very closely matched to the enemy team. And you look at their map pool, Haven, I think is a really good map to be so fucking amazing on, to where they might be sunning some other teams like Vitality. Yes, they lost.
Not many people ban Haven. I'm not sure anyone bans Haven at this time.
Fracture, which is a map that a lot of people are trying to avoid, if you can force it up there, if you go into a best of 5 now and you're looking at Foot, they become a very scary team. Their biggest obstacle will be these BO3s. You look at the side of the group they're on, they can easily make it past, I feel like, some of the BO3s as well. That's a bit more metagaming though, on like the future. I just think for the past, they have so many strengths and they just keep getting stronger from their weak points overall. I think like Sop is their strongest point right now, their strongest factor, their quality, and he's very consistent. The rest of the team is adapting to his pace. The rest of the team is finding their identity, I feel like, inside the server as well. Yetu is playing amazingly from the position when Sop maybe is not able to finish a round. He's the one there. Again, the biggest weakness is they can't finish games. They decide, we're the best. Their problem is they think they're good. Like, literally, if you look at that Fracture map and trying to finish it, they're laughing in that, what was it, the B retake that they went so fast that everybody just died. They're like, Stop's like, oh, so funny. 5 rounds passed, now they're stressed. What's their solution? Their coach calls a timeout. let's run it fast. And they run an A strat fast, faster than the Brie retake, and they win the series. Like, bro, teams got aura, and more importantly, spirit in every game. Look at it. It's always 11-13. Is their name Foot? Or if you just blow your eyes a bit, does it look like 11-13? I don't know. It's crazy, man. I feel like that quality is enough for me to say they're first place. No matter who they're facing, you're going to get bangers. That is the strongest team out of Swiss.
I mean, let me before Sideshow probably tries to push back. Let me jump on board this train, of course, because
yeah.
I think what I was just saying about Lev, that they have clear weak maps. That is what people thought was going to be Foot. Everyone thought going into this tournament, Foot have some clear weak maps. But you're absolutely right. Foot are competitive in every map. Every map is competitive. You will not stomp this team. And what really, really made me think, like, oh, hold on. Like, if you can beat NRG, yeah, tired NRG, whatever the fuck. If you can beat NRG and your best player, Sop, is actually having a pretty bad game. I mean, a very bad game by his standards, I would say. Like, he's not having a dominant performance, and you beat NRG. Hold on a second. I think that by far the biggest thing for Foot is that Zeus is having a really good tournament. And that was not the case in EMEA. Zeus was, I would say, underperforming in EMEA. He wasn't that good. Obviously, we've seen him in the past be pretty good. But he's come into this tournament, and he is, I mean, I literally told him this to his face after they won the first game. Like, if you play like that, you will go deep. And I think that is a big boon, the fact that they've, like, their Lotus, they changed their comp. Okay, they lost to NRG, but, it was competitive, and NRG are good at Lotus. So that game, like, that makes me feel good. Their Fracture, they're now 2-1 on. That was their permaban before. They've started permabanning Breeze, which is a map that they were dog shit at before. So that's a good decision, I think, as well. Their Ascent is good. I think their Ascent is better. Like, apart from maybe Lev, I might back them on Ascent, even against, like, because, like, PaperRex, they're not good at Ascent. G2 aren't good at Ascent. Like, Foot, I think, could beat them on Ascent. Their Haven, I would say, is maybe the best in the tournament. So, like, they've got two really good maps, I think. And the other maps that they've shown are, like, okay, maybe they're not the best, but they're competitive. They're at least good. So I'm putting them in second. Josh?
Putting them in second? Yeah, no, I am. I'm putting them in second as well.
Wow.
No, I'm
so
on
Vitality
board.
Third.
But hold the fuck on, because I haven't had a chance to push back against the Foot glazing that has dominated this podcast for the last 10 minutes, and you're trying to skip past it. They have, I think you're overstating the map pool, because we haven't seen those two maps. You can't say that they have a great map pool completely when we haven't seen them play on Ascent or Split. I mean,
I didn't mention Split.
Well, yeah, but they haven't played Split.
Yeah, they haven't played Split.
Right, and there are great Split teams in there. The Ascent, there are lots of teams that don't want to play Ascent. I could absolutely get on board with that one. If I'm thinking about putting them number one, though, if I'm thinking about that kind of headspace, Ascent and Split, either of those are going to be insta losses against Leviathan, I think. And then you're looking at playing them.
But I'm putting Lev 1.
Well,
no, I agree. I'm pushing back against the Shyo glaze that you just jumped on board.
Okay.
I don't think Split is an insta-loss, man. I'm sorry. That Split from Lev is going to crack one day. I don't think Split is an insta-loss.
Someone someday.
Here.
To be fair, we might see it. They're playing PaperRex first.
They are literally running on fumes on that Split. They're running on fumes, man. You've been the one to say the Split is the weak point in the past. What are we talking about? That is easy anti-stratable. They're doing the same thing on Attack for 9 rounds. This kid in the middle has made videos on it.
I know, literally this guy.
You've co-signed on it, though. What are we talking about? We're revising history.
We're not revising history. If you've talked to me since we've looked at the upper finals onwards of Americas, Lev's Split is fucking sick. The way that they mix these different timings from the beginning point is amazing. It is so difficult to deal with, their attack side on that map. And the defense is super strong too. They are just a fundamentally great team on that map. They have great stuff going on. Okay, let me talk about Foot though, because I think we're glossing over a couple of issues, right? One of the issues is that they really struggle in advantage situations. They are better in post plants when they are down players than when they are up players. And I think one of the big reasons is when they are the team making the play, whatever the play is, they are actually really good at finding like this is my moment to go in. This is my weird angle that I'm going to play. This is how I'm going to throw a smoke for my teammate to be able to play inside of it.
When they're proactive, they're good.
Yes, when they're proactive, they're good. When they are trying to hold, we are the G2 team that holds the crossfire and we swing off each other. They're fucking shite. It collapses to pieces immediately, and they lose mind-melting, TMV molding level rounds. And this is where the, like, they can't win a clutch type shit comes from. They also have been winning an enormous amount of pistol rounds recently as well, which if that does go down, if they don't win the pistols and the bonuses, I think some of these maps that were close might end up being less close. Some of the maps that they win might end up being less win. Like that shit tends to revert back to the average. So I think Foot are good, and I think I'm gonna rate Foot over Vitality for reasons that we'll talk about when we discuss Vitality. But I'm not on board necessarily with them being like, holy fuck, there's no flaws. You know, like they lost for a reason.
You're following the thing is, you're following your brain, and that's respectable. Following your heart.
What Foot need to do though, to talk about like the G2 they need to be PaperRex. This is what PaperRex I think figured out for them a long time ago. And people have kind of been like, PaperRex have shifted the game to them, right? Many more teams now play, much more aggressive styles, I think, because PaperRex have been so successful, for such a long time. The thing that only PaperRex really do, though, the thing that really still puts them out there is when they are in, like, any situation, they are still the team that will do let's go and find and kill them. They are still always the team that still wants to be the proactive doing the thing, right? And sometimes it leads them throwing mega rounds.
Oh yeah, of course. And Alex is molding,
yeah. But on average, most of the time, it ends up working out for them. And I think Foot need to learn from that because Foot also have an incredibly mechanically skilled team like PaperRex, and so I think that they just need to lean into just always be doing shit.
Yeah. One of the things though that PaperRex has learned to do, which is it's difficult, it's going to be hard for Foot to incorporate, is that PaperRex pressure you without committing to fights a lot of the time too. So there's a difference between being proactive and taking a fight in a post plant. Let's say you're in a C post plant on Haven. You could go and take a fight garage, or you could go and flash or paranoia into them at CT to try to disrupt them. Those are great things to do if you want to be proactive and you feel like you're down, or you feel like your team is just better at being proactive. But also, those are very committed things. What PaperRex are also really good at is throwing that flash and jiggling at you, so you stop your retake, expecting them to fight you, and then they fall back. And then suddenly you've got that mix-up of oh shit, we thought they were on us, but actually we've frozen, we've disrupted our plans, and we didn't even get that fight that we were expecting to see. And so that threatening to fight you all the time, but not always committing to it, I think is one of the beautiful things that PaperRex do that is tough for a team to incorporate midway through a tournament like this. If you're asking Foot to just be PaperRex, that's fucking hard.
Right. We all had Vitality third then, which I know there's going to be some Vitality fans or just some people.
Oh, they're going to be pissed
being
about
why the fuck Vitality beat Foot? Why the fuck would you rate Vitality, below Foot? And that might be a fair argument. I'll push back first of all, then you two can give your takes on Vitality. On that specific argument, in that Vitality and Foot obviously know each other extremely well. I interviewed Durka. He said, we scrim them all the time. We scrim them at this event. We know exactly what they're going to do. We know how to prep against them. And I think if you are you talked about this, Josh, with NRG and their problems with against Foot. If you are a prep-heavy team who, can understand what Foot are doing and you're used to it, you have a good matchup against Foot. The other non-EMEA teams will not be ready. They will not, like Durka said, they have a very unique style. They, it's difficult to play against if you're not ready for it. And I think that is what other teams non-EMEA teams have figured out. So on average, I think, yes, Vitality have a good matchup against Foot because they know how they play and they understand them. But against the field, against everyone, overall, Foot have a better chance of doing well because non-EMEA teams won't be able to figure that out. Okay. You two can give your takes on Vitality. Let's start with you, Shai.
Okay. I like that. It's again, I'm loving the coming from a cerebral perspective from both of you, and then I just coming out of left field saying some dumb shit. For me, they haven't filled out all the applications. I'm taking them beating DRG as a L a little bit in their power rankings against the other two teams. The other two we've seen tried, tested against
DRG
godlike
is so
matchups.
bad. When you beat them, it's an L.
Sideshow famously, you once described DRG as too high as being in the F tier, and
Yeah.
they needed to be a low F tier team
Yes,
and not
yes.
a mid F tier team.
Yes.
Yeah. So for me, like Vitality have played one game, right? And that's why I can't really give them any more than they can beat Foot. But like, did they get to face another the region's powerhouse or another difficult matchup a little bit that went back and forth that we can analyze a bit more? No. The game happened a little bit more of a while ago as well. So the recency bias for the amazing Foot stuff that we saw and the left stuff as well is really cool. I just feel like the DRG win, again, I know they're supposed to do it. They haven't filled out all their paperwork yet. So the max I can put them in is third place. Literally, it's the only reason. If I've had another BO3 to look at where they 2-0'd hard, or they dismantled another crazy level of competition, and we got to prep their style versus another, I'd put them at second, maybe even first. I think from a potential perspective, they're stronger than both these other teams. We just don't have the proof. That's all it is.
Okay. Until your final statement, I'm definitely on board with your perspective, because I think that only seeing one match is a massive, you can't be that high on a team if you've only seen one game of them playing against the competition. I agree with you. The thing for me as well is, though, I didn't like how they played in the Foot game. I didn't think they played good Valorant in the Foot game. The way that they fight together is horrible. They don't have good team coordination. If they are put in difficult spots, one player goes forwards, one player goes backwards, and then it's just, does the forward player get a kill, get a 2K? Now, they have a very talented squad with a lot of really experienced players. So actually, in that game against Foot, they were getting multi-kills a lot of the time when they were fighting alone. But a lot of it was fighting alone. I think that they really need to work on that team fight aspect of their play, because their coordination is all over the place. I think that they do well in the game against Foot because they're allowed to play Pearl, and that's actually one of the maps that Vitality are better than the EMEA teams on. I don't know how well that scales into the field. I suspect
They easily could have lost if Chronicle lost that 1v2, by the way.
I suspect that does not scale well into the rest of the field as well. No, you think that they're going to be good on Pearl against?
I think
playoff
using
teams?
KO, yes, I think the KO they have gives them a lot of value against the rest of the board on Pearl. Yampi is piloting that agent in such an amazing way with the flashes on retake towards A as well, getting so much info on B. I think it's a very pivotal factor that not many other teams are kind of locking into. And if they are, it doesn't look as good. And if the thing they have to fix is their MIBR problems of who's going in and who's getting out, look at how much they fixed for the playoffs. They have a little bit of a gap here and an easy chance to fix this issue more. It's not as big as become PaperRex. They'll get some protocols.
We've been talking about this during co-streams, and I've heard this before. The idea that they improved from EMEA groups to playoffs means that they'll improve again between Swiss and playoffs. I think they went backwards from EMEA playoffs to that match against Foot. I think that was a lower quality game that I just saw from Vitality compared to what I saw from them in the EMEA playoffs. I don't think
That's really good.
I don't think improvement is linear. How the fuck is that good if they went backwards?
Because it would be so much harder to improve if they kept getting better. But the fact that they went the fact that they went down slightly, still won, means it'll be easier to go back up. That's sound logic. That is actually sound logic. That is
the problem is it's sound logic, Shyo, but it's not sound logic in terms of them doing well at the tournament. Because if they started here and they go down, yeah, they can improve. But this isn't a did it Vitality improve tournament. It's you're playing against other teams. So
no, but
they go down, they come back up, but then they're only where they were.
They went down and they still won. Shows you the level of potential they have and the pure talent they have.
They do have a lot of potential. They're potential, man. They're
put
G2.
them number one. I'm just saying, it's that it fits better into the narrative the way they struggled against Foot.
Right. Okay. I need to see more of them before I've got a strong take.
We're gonna be here all day.
But I didn't feel great about them.
Okay.
I also
Longest episode.
the only interesting thing about Vitality though is that they were left until last. I don't know why on earth did PaperRex not want to pick into Vitality?
Because they see the same thing that I do. They're looking the like. Okay,
Maybe.
real talk. You want to know why PaperRex didn't want to pick Vitality? It was between Lev and Vitality for them, right?
Yeah.
Because Alex is a troll. He literally went for the crowd reaction. He doesn't.
No,
care.
he didn't.
Yes,
he
did.
That was fake as fuck. He's playing.
He literally listened.
You want to know the real reason?
Asked about it.
The real reason is because the two worst maps for Leviathan are Lotus and Breeze. Therefore, it's a guaranteed map win, no matter which one they ban. That's the reason he's picked them. Surely, anything else doesn't.
I genuinely
make sense.
feel like they don't care and they will win no matter what. I genuinely feel this.
You
way.
really think he picked it based off going to the crowd and going, "Oi, oi."
Yes. I think he had a game plan set for either team. Yes,
Right.
genuinely,
right.
yes.
We're gonna move on to the stat of the week. Sideshow, you've been
You want
in
to
the
start
lab.
the week?
Let's move to the stat of the week, shall we?
Okay. My stat of the week for you, it's a very quick one. You gave us, it's almost like revisiting your stat of the week from last week.
Yeah.
You gave us some non-mirror win rate information from last week,
Yeah.
which was, if you could vaguely remind us, it was like Phoenix was 65%, something
Phoenix
like that?
Yes.
Non-mirror
in
win rate?
stage 1, 65%, 72 and 38.
Sure. So astonishingly good win rate. And we were coming into a tournament with Neon nerfs, and so you would expect the Neon win rate also to fall a little bit maybe, or look not so good. Currently in Masters London, now we're working with way lower, I want to say, grain of salt with all of this shit, because it is low sample size, and it is the Swiss stage teams, not the playoff teams yet as well. So this absolutely could change. But the numbers are dramatic, so I wanted to bring them up at least as a thing to track, if not like bringing away some takeaways from. Phoenix currently has a 21% non-mirror win rate. 3 out of 14 pied, basically, in terms of non-mirror maps that they've played. So part of this is that Foot have moved entirely away from the Phoenix, which Zeus was shit at Phoenix, so I'm glad that they did that, to be honest with you. Part of it is that Full Sense were playing a lot of Phoenix, and they crumbled. Part of it is that Life played a bit of Phoenix, and he was dog wank at it. But also, NRG played Phoenix, and they didn't find very much success with it. I think the few times it won were like, obviously Lev played it and they won on split, and then like Vitality Sayonara played it. I think that might be another one of the wins as well. But it is not doing well right now. Yeah, Lev are actually 2 out of 3.
They're 2 of the wins.
They're 2 out of 3 of the map wins is Lev playing it on split and Ascent, which, you know,
And then Vitality
they're great
Fracture.
there. Right, and Vitality Fracture. And by the way, the Phoenix on Fracture is one of the lowest win rates so far at Masters London. It's like 1 and 4 or something in non-mirror.
Which is insane, because like I think the Full Sense game, they had this cool strat where the second round they got 5 orbs on the Phoenix. Like they went for orb, plant, death. I think it was 3 orbs and a plant, death. Phoenix didn't even shoot anybody, and he got his ultimate, which is insane. They could have done that every single round.
And so what I wanted to pose as a like hypothesis, first of all, let's address the primary hypothesis, which might just be that this is noise rather than signal, and actually towards the end of the tournament it'll just end up balancing itself out. I'll propose various different hypotheses. You can tell me which one you're more aligned with. First of all, the sample size is just too low at the moment. Second of all, it's because of these absolutely horrendous Phoenix players like Life. Jitboy's underperformed enormously at this event. Raga played a lot more Phoenix, and he has played it quite badly. I mean, Keiko's stats on the Phoenix aren't even that great, to be honest with you. His KPR is 0.63. But then on the flip side of it, you have Sato, Premi, and Sayonara, who are absolutely fucking farming. And I guess another hypothesis would be that the best teams with Phoenix are yet to play. But I'm not sure I agree with that either, because Leviathan play probably the best with it. And maybe even you could argue Full Sense did before they crumbled.
So the thing that I would say to that is like, the reason why agents can only ever get so high in terms of win rate is because you're going to get, as soon as something starts being successful, you get teams that are worse and or, you know, don't know what they're doing. start picking up that agent, and then they lose with it because they don't know what they're doing, and they're just worse teams. This literally always happens. This is why it's one of the reasons why there is a cap kind of on how high an agent win rate can be. Because yeah, obviously if PaperRex just played a certain agent and they were the only team doing it on every single map, and no one else ever picked it, yeah, it probably would have an insanely high win rate, right? But that's not how things work. PaperRex stop playing something, everyone goes, oh, they're winning with that, let's try it. And then they're shit, and then they lose. And then you'd say, oh, well, the win rate isn't that good, is it? So I think that is a big part of it. That's just been this is why Phoenix was so surprising that it's that high, because it's so much higher than everything else has ever been before. Perhaps because some of these shitter teams hadn't quite, cottoned on yet. And now they're starting to cotton on.
You'd still expect it to go more towards like 50, though, rather than...
No, but if you add it... Oh, yeah, but you're also still dealing with a small sample size as well. Like, if you add it to the overall stats, he goes from 6... Like, I literally did just put it in with the numbers that you said. He goes from 60% to 65% to 61. It's like 61% is still the highest that we've had in the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. So even adding on to this. So you still... Yeah, it's all the reasons that you said. Now, I would personally say, like, having watched the NRG game against Foot yesterday... I could count numerous examples where Foot were getting absolutely fried by the Phoenix flashes. And, like, it was having a massive impact in the round consistently. The Phoenix, like, if you just went through the rounds and were like, oh, was Phoenix good in this round? You'd get a lot of examples of, like, yeah, look at this flash here. It got them a kill. Look at this molly. It's, delaying them. Like, there would be a lot of situations that get value. So, yeah, it's just a small sample size. Doesn't matter. Let's move on. Let's move on to some max drama. And in the max drama... Ooh, people are calling people cheats. There's cheating going on in Masters London because when people are in clutches, people can see that you're moving your mouse. So you're not defusing, are you? Because you're moving your mouse. And I'm taking a little look over there and I can see. Sideshow, you said you had some hot take about this.
Well, I just think the general... I want to zoom out a little bit. The general take when Ethan did this originally, when there was like a famous clip of an example of him coming to a teammate, I think it was Mara, maybe, I can't even remember who it was, in a clutch against Alpha, yeah. And he comes and people were like, oh, holy shit, I never realized that the pros were using that kind of tech. And the general theme of the community was, wow, that's really cool. I didn't realize that people were doing that. You fast forward to now, there's basically been no discussion about this whatsoever, as far as I'm aware. Although I'm not on Twitter, so maybe I've missed something. But then Durka tweets about it because they lost some clutches to Yedajay, and it picked up a lot of traction, and immediately the community reaction is the entire opposite, where it's like, holy shit, this is disastrous cheating and we need to stop it. And I feel like I've missed something in the middle, which was, why was this not the reaction to it the first time when we all found out about this?
Because it's North American people... mostly.
No. Let me defend us. Here's the thing. When Ethan did it in that pocket moment, right, even within that matchup, he wasn't doing it every single round. And it wasn't as abundant.
Why does it matter?
And then, let me finish. Let me finish.
I only robbed the bank once.
When you only rob it once, the mayor's like, okay, interesting. Let's tighten up security. If the bank is getting robbed every day, it's time to call in Batman. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's time to do some different things. Something's wrong with the system. But when Ethan did it for the one time, wow, cool tech. When every single post plant now is LaRock looking over and seeing the mouse? Is Yetu looking over? Is Ethan looking over? When the soul read doesn't exist anymore, when you have to question that everything is now a peek over, then it's not that it's cheating. It's just getting a little bit more scammertaz. It's like, man, what is this? Like, this is not the cool tech anymore. You're losing a portion of the game.
I understand that. I think that the best take that I've seen from the people who dislike it is it's something that the viewer can't tell. Like, the viewer literally can't see what's happening, and it's influencing the game. And so from a viewer's perspective, it just feels like, I don't know whether that was a sick clutch or whether they had some information about what was going on the other side. I think that's an incredibly valid opinion. I think, though, that there are other valid opinions here, and one of them is that what they've done in Americas, and I think they might have done in the EMEA, from what Leo was tweeting about, is that they've put like a little lip on the thing, and they've added lights and that kind of stuff. But what they haven't done is ban it and say that it is cheating to look at your opponent during clutches, right? And like, even standing up mid-round, as far as I'm aware, is not cheating, because we Was it Zeus standing up before the round had even finished after he popped off against Carmen Corp kind of thing? You know,
just took his kid to stop playing even though the round was over.
What I don't want to happen is that they feel like it's such an issue that they have to litigate. It is illegal, like you are going to lose a round or something if you look at your opponent in a post-plant clutch, if you stand up to look at them. I don't want it to ever get to the point where we have to have the players with like a fucking giant screen between them so they can't see each other. Like, I think anything towards that level is way too far for something that isn't really even that big of a deal. And the reason that I say it's not even that big of a deal, I agree with the viewership aspect of like, you're always going to be doubting that you missed something as a viewer. That's fine. But from the player's perception, the very first time it happened, when everyone was talking about it being a cool tech, it was bad fucking information. He literally wasn't moving his mouse because he was holding an angle, waiting for the guy to peek after he tapped. He was not sticking the diffuse. He was holding the angle. And it just so happened that even though Ethan gave bad info, he's not moving his mouse, he's sticking, they still won the clutch anyway. So it was literally like, it is not reliable tech. It is not the case.
It's not like you can't wiggle your mouse whilst you're diffusing a little bit.
Exactly. You absolutely could be doing that type of shit.
Yeah, the idea for that, when you're not moving your mouse, you just know the player is static near the spike. The whole comm is that, like, you know where to look. They're not like,
they're calming your sticking.
If you're adjusting. I don't know, but the player is not peeking thinking he's having a safe fight. The player is speaking knowing where to look. The comm obviously is he's sticking.
But you're going to be holding. I feel good about that.
I know, but if the player peeking, if you can pre-aim where the person is, it's like having a Sova scan. We're getting into the...
But I think that this is important stuff because it isn't reliable tech. It's not reliable tech at all. It fucking isn't, man. It really isn't.
No, but Shyo, okay, I'm wiggling my mouse. I'm sticking the spike. I'm wiggling my mouse. You're saying, oh, don't peek. He's wiggling his mouse.
I know.
Yeah, that's not reliable.
Here's my take. I love the fact that the lip is there. The devil's gesture in me is, damn, we didn't get to see the evolution of this. I could be hovering my mouse right above my mouse pad, but holding the angle. And then you'll peek or something, and I get the one time. We could have had broadcast have a mouse cam. We could have had broadcast of the in-com cam, a lean cam. You know what I mean? Like, it could have gone so many ways, but now we have the lip.
Yeah, but my point is also that the lip is not sufficient to stop this from happening probably. Like, in theory, if the players really wanted to, maybe there'll just be a gentleman's agreement that you're not going to make it egregious and you're not going to fucking stand up, have all of your teammates standing up going, no, I can see it. Like, you know, but...
I mean, that would be cinema anyway.
But if they wanted to, I think they could do that, and maybe Riot would feel like they're forced to ban that from happening or something. I just think...
At that point, you could ban, like, standing up mid-round. I don't think that would be too big of
What if you have a cramp?
No, hold on.
Standing up mid-round? Why do you think stand up mid-round?
Right.
Because what if someone celebrates right before the spikes diffuse? There's like little... Sorry,
So Baby Bay has 1v1 op-duels against people, and mid-round stood out his chair and gone, way, and then continued to play the round. That shit is fucking aura when it happens. You don't want rules being like, you can't celebrate before the round is fully over. You get fucking stupid shit happening. I agree, that wouldn't really affect too many moments either. But it's not a big enough issue to hard litigate this stuff. Soft litigation of like, let's put a little lip, let's put some lights, that kind of stuff. I'm fine with all of that. Anything that tries to go too hard against it, though, that is going to be like in the head of the player, oh, I got to stand up until the round's completely over, otherwise we might lose the fucking round. Also, by the way, what would you even do if that's happening? You're telling me there's a 1v1. So there's a rule in
Find them a
statecraft.
week's wages.
You'll take that if you're in a 1v1 clutch for the champs, aren't you? So if there's a rule in statecraft, you should never make laws that you cannot enforce. If you made a rule that you are not allowed to stand up mid-round for this, right? And somebody's in a 1v1 clutch and they stand up and maybe they're fucking celebrating whatever the fuck it is, you're telling me they're going to like forfeit the round of a 1v1 clutch in order to, you know, uphold this rule that they can't be looking at the mice? Like enforcing the rule would create a worse scenario than just not having the rule in the first place. And so that's why having hard rules against it, I think, is a bad idea. You could do soft stuff, but you shouldn't be doing hard shit.
It's worse for poorer teams as well, right? Because like A, for the fine stuff, like the people that need the money versus the people that don't. B, for the teams that don't have a tech department. I feel like if you're not allowed to stand up, the richer teams start to look into glasses that have those telescopes that go up and then down, and you can see what's going on.
A periscope.
The periscope? You have to put on the periscope when he's dead? Like,
I mean, a periscope tech would be incredibly funny. I mean, I hope
the comparison I would make
we get
is it's not illegal to use crowd noise to your advantage, but we put a lot of things in place to make it less and less likely that the players can use crowd noise to their advantage. But we don't have a rule that says if you hear the crowd going crazy, you're not allowed to check around every corner because you know something's happening, right? That would just be fucking stupid. So I don't think we should be putting rules in place that create these like silly scenarios. We should just be trying to make it, we should just be putting barriers of friction in the way. I think that's more
Make it a skill
reasonable.
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on then to some father fantasies. No, not the kind that you're thinking of.
That emoji.
Because today we had VFL. First, this is about VFL, of course, because we're talking about fantasy. We are the Vodfathers, so that's why it's father fantasies. If you're wondering, let's just start off. So, if you didn't watch the episode before Masters London, we did a VFL draft. And Shai was not happy about it, clearly. We did a VFL draft and went through and picked players. And so, Josh, do you want to just quickly remind people of what your team was and how they did?
My team was looking horrible because I had the premi IGL, and then he went absolutely crazy. I mean, Full Sends were disastrous in the first game, and I thought I'd hard tossed. Premi IGL, Blows and King from Leviathan, Chronicle and Yampi from Vitality, and then Scuba. So only 2 of my players have been eliminated.
Okay, that's much better than what me and Shio had. Shio, do you want to read out what your team was?
My team, sorry, I had to dip for a second. Mata, Ethan, RIP NRG. Flexen, Vukashu, RIP DRG. And then Yetuje, Periscopular, and Neon.
Okay.
Cooking.
Okay, a little bit of cooking there. My team was Sato, pretty good.
Nice.
Keiko IGL, who was incredibly good, so he got me a lot of
Value.
points, but also Brawk, and they're both home. Then a big problem in having both Cruz and Killua from Full Sense. RIP Full Sense. And then Sociable to bring up the rear did pretty well. So both me and Shios, for those of you who don't know how this works, there is now a gap where you can make 3 changes. But me and Shio have 4 people eliminated. So we're going to be playing the playoffs with only 5 players. So we did a draft last time. We're going to do a draft this time. Now, last time, Sideshow picked first. Shio picked third. So I thought it was fair if we swap that around and Shio gets the first pick. We will do a snake draft again. We can only make 3 changes, so there'll be 9 picks in total. Sideshow doesn't even need to make a last pick if he doesn't want to, but I think he will. So, Shio, you need to get rid of, obviously, your expensive players who got eliminated. So, who do you want to take first?
ShyoWager of the ShyoWager variety will be replacing Mata for something from PaperRex.
Ooh, okay, nice. Okay, so something is a bit more expensive than Mata, so you'll have to find a few funds, but I'm sure you probably can.
Yep.
For me, I'll be getting rid of Keiko, Brawk, and Killua, who are my 3 most expensive. So I need an initiator, a controller, and a wildcard of anyone. To fill the initiator role, though, what I'm going to do is replace Brawk with Trent of G2. So Trent is my pick.
G2's going to get some crazy points.
And that's perfect because I get 2 picks, right?
Yeah, you get 2 picks.
And I only need to change 2 players, one of which is Premi and one of which is Scuba. So for Premi, I'm going to change him out. And I could literally pick up any player, I guess. But I'm going to go with the G2 idea as well. And I'm going to go for Jorgamo from G2.
Ooh.
I'm going to get him on Duelist, which gives me 2.5 extra to play with. I also need to get rid of Scuba, so I'm going to get rid of him, and I'm going to pick up Baby Bay. And I'm going to bank on the fact that Baby Bay actually has a good tournament, rather than flopping like he did at Santiago.
Okay, well then it's back to me. So I also need to get rid of Keiko for a controller, and the way G2 are set up, they have 2 controllers. Now, man, this is tough now. I could go for either one. Valen is 0.5 more expensive than Leaf is. So I have a choice. Do I want Leaf for 9 or do I want Valen for 9.5? Oh, that's so tough. Hold on, I just need to quickly look at like the other players in terms of the price of who I'm then giving up potentially by picking one or the other. Oh man, will Valen outperform Leaf by that much? Oh, man, that is tough. That's tough. You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go for Valen. I'm gonna take Valen as my choice of controller.
You're taking Valen? Okay.
Wait, can I just check? I don't think either of you will take this player, but we did. I'm gonna draft someone who was available before. I think neither of you had Zeus, did you?
No.
Well then, I've kind of.
I might be able to.
If you take him, I'm taking that back.
No,
There's no way you're
fuck you.
There's no way you're taking him.
Let me see where Zeus is at. Ooh,
There's no way.
8.5.
Shia, don't do this. Don't do this.
I might have to TMV because then it gives me room. No. Let me just see what's available at the top. Ooh, it gives me some nice room. TMV. It gives me some nice room.
Don't do this, bro. Please. I should have not said anything. Please.
Okay, but you have to remember I didn't do this then. You have to remember. Okay. What I'm going to do, here are my options, right? Here are my options. Let me just talk about this with you guys and maybe give you some ideas.
You got 2 picks, by the way, now.
I have 2 picks in a row, so I can just...
do what you want.
This is it for me.
Yeah.
So, okay. The first thing I'm going to do, and this is amazing that I have 2 picks, I'm replacing Ethan for nobody.
Okay.
I need the points. I need points.
All right.
Nobody
So
costs
I'm getting
5.5.
nobody in there.
Okay.
So let me just make these moves real quick. So Ethan transfer out. I get nobody. It gives me the points to be able to switch Mata into something, which is nice.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do that as well. And now I have 9 points on Vukashu to play with. This was my plan.
Okay.
So 9 points. Here are my options. I have Kashmaris. I have who else? I was looking between Kashmaris or Davai and Envy. Do I want to double up?
Could have a PaperRex player. Could go Koshmars, yeah.
That's my thing. Am I allowed to ever defer? Or is that not a possibility? Like, can I defer and then come back?
I think you can defer your pick if you want.
I can defer my pick.
I mean,
I'm going to lock
a negative to defer your pick, surely.
It is. It really is. I'm going to lock in Davai. I'm going to lock in Davai and see where we go from there.
I reckon. It's a good pick.
Yeah, I think that's a nice pick. Well, I'm going to take Zeus because I've got 8.5 to spend. I was actually thinking the same thing. I was going to take Leaf potentially and then take one of those PaperRex players maybe. But I'm just going to lock in Zeus and hope that Foot do well.
Okay. So
Sideshow.
My final pick, I find myself in a bit of a pickle here because I have double Lev and double Vitality. And in order to like prep for the next stage, you need a lot of people that are going to make it to top 4. And they're on the harder side of the bracket with PaperRex, and also Lev play literally against PaperRex immediately. So I want to get rid of either Blows or Yampy. But Blows, I can't really replace him with anybody good with the price that I have. So I'm going to replace Yampy with Benji Fishy, even though they play against each other. I'm just going to kind of spread my team so I'm more likely to have someone who gets it.
I've gone all in. I've gone all in with double G2, double Foot.
Double G2, double Foot. I mean, it's not bad except that they play against each other before the top 4.
As long as they both win their first games, though, that's 2 players through. I just need them to both win their first game. And then I've got 2 players guaranteed through. And then I need either my Sato or my Foot or G2 to make a run. Okay. Well, that's the draft then. So we went what? Only Shyo has PaperRex players, right?
Yep.
It's difficult. They're expensive, so you have to have
got
like
2
a gap in the
PaperRex.
roster
Me
to
and
afford them.
Sideshow, no PaperRex.
Well, I've got double Lev.
You got double Lev. I've got double G2. You've got double G2.
I've got double G2.
You've got no
crazy
G2,
spread.
Shyo.
Yeah, I have crazy spread. I've got PaperRex, EDG, Lev, Foot. Where am I going? I'm in a timeline that should not exist. If those are the top 4 teams, God help us all. God help all of us.
Okay. Well, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. I think points-wise, do you know how many points you're on, Shyo?
No clue. I'd have to...
Hold on.
No
we can get it up. So
team history.
Yeah, I know that I'm in joint third place with Sliggy when it comes to the like
Overall talent leaderboard.
The talent leaderboard. I've got 134 points.
So it goes. So Sliggy's on 134. Chobra's on 137. Sideshow's on 134. Then I'm down on 128. Bren's on 108, if you want to know.
Holy
and
fuck,
ShyoWager is sitting a distant last place on 100 points. So I'm 6 behind Sideshow. It did not double DRG. It turned out was not very good.
I mean, you're
So
still
you
ahead
got a
of
lot
Achilles.
of you. But to be fair, if PaperRex win and G2 lose, me and Sideshow are kind of.
If G2
in
lose
the
to
big
XLG, everybody's bracket is also immediately boom.
Well, let's talk about that next. Let's go to certified bangers and let's do a quick bracket, shall we?
Yeah, let's
Do a quick Vodfathers playoff bracket. Let's get into the certified bangers.
Let's jump in. First match. G2's G
So I
Live.
think we should have a full pick'ems bracket here. I think, Light. If you go onto the link and we can go through the games as we talk about them to close out the show.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
our
the
first
first
game.
ones
Oh
are
yeah. You think the first picks are easy?
Well, the first pick.
The first pick, yeah, should be pretty easy.
Yeah, G Live for sure. Oh,
We're going G2.
G2.
We're going
Yeah.
G2. Pick G2.
Yep.
Get us in the G2. The next games, though, I would argue we might have a bit more of a discussion. So there's G2. EDG versus Foot. You know where I'm going.
Why do I have players from both teams, bro? What am I doing? What am I actually doing? Josh, where are you ahead of this one? Are you foot-sided?
I mean, I think these kind of games are so fucking difficult because who the hell knows what EDG are actually going to come out and look like. I think prior to the tournament, I definitely would have picked EDG, but Foot have given me reason to believe, bro. They've actually given me reason to believe. I think EDG could beat them on Pearl. And well, they permaban Breeze, don't they? Foot?
Well, yeah, Foot do you?
Yeah. So maybe they can beat them on like split or something as well. Yeah, I think Foot are winning that game.
Okay, I'm taking Foot just because they're warming up to the stage, and Sop is
Let's
like
go.
a hero.
Let's
Give me
go,
Foot.
guys. Oh, no, do I
Yep.
want this? I kind of like the doubt, to be honest, more than this belief. PaperRex Lev, absolute gigabanger game. Do any of you believe?
I think Lev win that game.
Oh my
I
god!
think PaperRex are on top. TMV, you got to decide.
I did my pick'ems earlier, and I picked Lev.
Yeah, so did I.
Oh my god.
I picked Lev.
Do I have to co-sign this? Can I? We have a veto, right?
We're getting
We have
one
a
veto each. Is that how you want to do it?
I want to veto this. I'm putting PaperRex.
Fine, sure.
Anybody want to cancel my veto with their veto?
I think
don't
it's
feel
quite
that
a
strong about
reasonable
it.
veto.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
thing is, I think the map pool should play out so that both teams have a guaranteed map against each other. So like either Breeze or Lotus, whatever Lev ban, PaperRex easily win the other one. And then the other way around, I think Lev have got like I think Ascent is just an obvious one that you can bring out, and
But the split?
Yeah, it
split should be the
map three.
decider, and that's where it comes down to. And I assume that's why me and TMV have both ended up going with Lev, because we believe in the Lev split, which
I
is
don't-
funny after the Lev files dropped. But now, I mean, their split is just goated.
Right, but he
I'm
vetoed
going
it.
PaperRex.
Yeah, he vetoed it.
Put PaperRex.
PaperRex.
Yeah.
Right, that's your veto gone. PaperRex it is.
Damn.
Then Team Heretics versus Team Vitality.
I'm going for Vit.
No, I'm going Heretics. I don't have any great data to base that off, right? Because Vitality have only played one game against a competent team, and Heretics have played 0 games, but they beat them in EMEA, and
Without a double map
Koshmaras
veto.
should be able to play Neon exactly. Like,
Yeah,
Heretics
I think for that, if Heretics can beat Vitality with Vitality kind of banning 2 maps that Heretics would beat Vitality on, I think, then I think they'll should be okay. But there is the whole like, will they be warm to the stage? And it's not like Heretics are a team that you can ever trust at an international. So
you gotta
I-
go with them though.
I'll pick Heretics. I'll pick Heretics, but
Sadness. I mean, it's the way it should be. I must be doubted at all stages of my life. We'll go for Heretics.
okay,
It's totally
we'll go
fine.
Heretics. Then let's start with the upper semifinals. Why not? G2 versus
Sure.
Foot.
G2.
G2.
Sorry, Foot, but G2 have got to be the favorites. Doesn't mean
Oh
they
my
can't
God,
win,
Foot-
but they've got to be the favorites.
Foot are going to win this game, but we have to predict G2. It's the only way it happens. Foot are going to win, but we have to predict G2 for it.
Veto. Foot win this game. Foot win this game.
Josh, save us. Josh, save us.
For the integrity of our bracket, we have to use the veto here. I have to use the veto here.
Oh my god.
Vetoing my veto.
I have to.
Okay.
I've got to send G2.
G2 go through. And
Okay,
then
PaperRex Heretics.
PaperRex.
I'm voting Heretics.
Really?
Well, unlucky. You just voted against them in the first game.
100%. But if they're here, let's just follow the white rabbit. See where
Don't
they go.
listen to him.
Hold
PaperRex.
Don't
PaperRex.
listen
Put
to him.
PaperRex and put G2 on the top one.
All right.
Okay, let's scroll down.
Yeah, let's do the low bracket.
We got G Live versus EDG.
EDG should be favored, but
Yeah.
I definitely think, as we were talking about before, there are chances for Shilai to win that game.
But we'll pick
This is EDG coming off the loss versus GLI coming off the loss. I'm picking EDG.
Yeah, EDG.
Yeah, EDG.
So we'll go EDG and then Lev Vitality. I'm going Lev.
I'm going, but what?
Lev are not even in this position, Shyo, in me and Team V's bracket.
Okay,
going
but
Lev.
look, don't just pick it because they weren't in the position. Quantify it, man. There's no way.
We did
Vitality
quantify it
will
earlier. We quantified it earlier,
gee.
which was that we both believe Leviathan are better
You
than
put
Vitality
Lev above
right now.
Vitality in the Rankum thing.
No, he didn't.
Of course I did.
Shyo had Vitality as the... Oh, wait, no, he did. Sorry, I'm thinking about
Yeah,
Lev
that
and
doesn't
Foot.
mean. I mean, it's a power ranking, not a prediction. Oh my god, everybody thinks the power ranking.
Okay, Vitality like to play Pearl. Leviathan also are pretty happy playing Pearl. Vitality don't have a map that they particularly want to play in this pool, do they? That is going to... Lotus, actually. Lotus is a map that they want to play. So maybe they can win a guaranteed map on Lotus or Breeze. The same way that most teams can.
Vid are also coming in just a bit fresher from the mindset. Like Lever doing this crazy war path from Swiss all the way here to PRX. Like Vitality, I just feel like, you know what, it is what it is.
It doesn't matter. We voted Lev. You don't have a veto.
Can I
Shut
get
up.
an advance on my futures from the next pick'ems? Can I just take the veto from
Shut
that
up.
one and use it here?
No. Lev. Pick Lev. And then we'd get Team Heretics versus EDG. Ooh.
I'm leaning EDG.
Sure. I'll go with you. Why not?
I think that's... Yeah, I mean... I think I'd go for Heretics, but I think it's fine.
Okay.
Foot Lev.
Okay.
No, it's... Yeah, and then...
Foot.
I mean,
Versus
this
Lev?
is the point of the bracket where I start to doubt Lev a bit, but no, I'd still go with Lev here.
I'm going with Foot here.
Yes.
Oh, fuck my life.
Yes.
This is what I should have saved my veto for. Saving Lev.
Foot would have been in the upper final at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
G2 PaperRex. Let's do the upper final.
This one is
PaperRex.
PaperRex.
If
PaperRex,
PaperRex have
sure.
beaten Lev to begin with,
Yeah.
they run the... Like, that
run
defines
this
the
down.
upper bracket, in my opinion. Like, if PaperRex lose the... If PaperRex win, they go straight to the grand finals. if Lev win, G2 go straight to the grand finals.
Yeah.
Is in my
You
head.
don't think Lev could beat G2?
I think it's hard. I think that G2 have got them. G2 is the only team that have been able to beat them on split. I think G2 are viewed as like the America's team. I think there's like, I think it takes a bit to be able to get past them domestic.
Okay. But we'll pick
EDG Foot.
PaperRex.
Yeah.
EDG
Yeah.
Foot. You know where I'm going?
I'm
picking
going
EDG
towards-
just to push back.
I have to push back as well. I think I've been on this train for too long. We're gonna go EDG.
I mean, that's crazy as well. EDG making it to the lower bracket final is wild. Hold on,
Yeah.
light has been paid. no.
No, the reason we need to pred EDG here so Foot actually win. There needs to be a narrative against them. At
If it's a
certain times.
lower final, G2 EDG, if we got to this point, EDG are winning.
No.
If they've
This is where
run
they
the
stop.
lowers, they are beating
My brother.
G2. If they
No.
run the lowers, that means that Chichu and Kang are probably frying.
G2
They're
off a
beating
loss
G2.
clause. G2 off a loss clause.
G2 never win at this point. This is where they lose.
I know, but this is
If
what this is
EDG
what-
have won this many games, that means that they must be at least good.
Let me sell
That's
you
a
on
good version of
G2
EDG
beat
is here.
EDG. They're the curse breakers. They beat EDG, breaking their own curse, and then double break, never winning by beating PRX in the finals.
Okay,
Give me
you're
G2 twice,
a
right?
G2 fan.
Give me G2
Come with
twice.
me, Josh.
Give me G2 twice.
EDG.
Give me G2 twice. No! Don't
I
pick it,
just
Josh.
think-
At least put them in the finals.
I
At least
just
put
think
G2 in the
it's
finals.
stupider. When we look back on this bracket, it's going to be stupider when we had EDG in the finals. I've got to go G2.
Yeah.
God's sake.
And
But you're
then-
picking PaperRex in the grand final.
I'm picking
No,
PaperRex in
which
the
one
grand
of you can I
finals.
convince that PaperRex
Neither
doesn't
of
win?
us.
Imagine. Just look into your mind, please.
We
PaperRex
already
versus
have
G2
been
in the grand-
convinced. We've already been convinced that PaperRex are losing to Lev.
Let me say this. Think about Paris. Think about the close 2-1. If that was a BO5, G2 have a chance. They almost won that BO3
Yeah, but they'd have a
anyways.
double map ban as well.
Yeah.
That's
tough for a team
totally
like G2.
fine. They
The
share
only
maps
thing I would say in
anyways.
G2's favor, Shio, is that this would be like G2 always get like hyped up pretty heavy. They would be big underdogs in this game. They
what
would be
I'm
playing
saying.
with like less pressure, I think, because people wouldn't expect them to win. But that's for good reason because PaperRex will win. Pick PaperRex.
Yeah. I'm
But
sorry,
Josh,
Shio. I
isn't
love your
it better
world,
for
but
isn't it better for PaperRex to lose this event? So there's a storyline for them to win the next event.
no,
You said that in the
unfortunately,
past.
I know I've said that in the
PaperRex winning
past.
champs.
But the reason
We're in a
I said
different
about
timeline now.
PaperRex, the reason I said about PaperRex is it's fun for the team to always get close and lose, always get close and lose. That's now G2. G2 have
But you
taken
were
that.
wrong back then. You were wrong back then, so you're going to be wrong now. Start on the right side. You can change
Get
your
on the right
bracket.
side of history. Guys like me
Okay.
don't get on the right side of history.
That's
Look at
the
me.
Vodfathers pick 'em.
Whoa, whoa.
That's the Vodfathers pick 'em. Let's close the show. Come back to our big faces, light. Let's say goodbye to everyone. Goodbye.
Like, favorite, subscribe, audio listeners. Can I see your ears? I don't want to. Just kidding. Everyone else, have a good day.